our historic City Hall here in the great city of Holly Hill. Obviously, we're here for a very awesome occasion here tonight. For the last time, as your mayor, I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to ask Val, please call the roll.
Commissioner Penny?
Here.
Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Danio?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Leo?
Here. And so at this time, I want to remind you all to please silence any cell phones that you may have at this time. And I will ask that that you stand for our invocation, led by Pastor Chuck McEwen from UBIC here in Holly Hill. And then after the invocation, we will continue to stand. What is that? We will continue to stand afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. Mayor, I was thinking about how every day I pray. And I pray for the normal stuff, like most people do, but I very often pray for unforeseen consequences and things that might happen that we would rather not happen. We deal with that every day, not just in our personal lives, but in the life of the city. There are always things that come up that we don't expect, and we may not even be sure how to handle them. But one thing I do know is that there's a God in heaven, and He loves us, and He helps us. Heavenly Father, we bless You for the opportunity to be here tonight. We thank You for our city commission. We thank You for our staff, the leaders in our community. We thank You, Heavenly Father, for the privilege that we have to stand here in prayer in a free nation where we're not going to be recriminated against because we believe in You and we pray in Your name. This all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that great invocation, Mr. McEwen.
Pastor.
Alrighty, so now we're going to get to the point that I think all of you, or at least the vast majority of you, are here for tonight, and that's the installation and oath of office for elected officials 2024 municipal election. But just before we do that, this thing is huge. Put it on the ground. Got to be able to see it, yeah, just for a moment. I just want to take a moment of personal privilege to just say thank you so much to the entire community. Thank you to my friends, to the neighbors, to the voters of Holly Hill for entrusting me to be your mayor over the last 6 years. I mean it when I say it has been the truest honor of my life, and I want you to know that I gave this role everything I had. And looking forward, our future is very, very bright here in the city of Holly Hill. We are in very capable hands. I want to thank our city manager for all of your work over the years. It's been a blessing to be able to work with you. I know we butt heads a lot, and we agree on a lot, and we fight a lot, but you've always helped me to get to where I wanted to go, and I just appreciate everything that you have done. And I want to say to the incoming commissioners, I am very much looking forward. Where's Jeff? Where is Jeff sitting? Is he, back there, okay. And Jeff and Deborah, I'm very much looking forward to your tenure to bring a fresh perspective up here to the dais, and I know that you'll continue all the momentum that we've worked on. And to our commissioners that are staying, Commissioner Curry and Commissioner Johnson, it's been a pleasure to work with you both, and I've always respected your opinions, and thank you for helping to move the ball forward here. And Mr. Danio, Commissioner Danio, we came in at the same time, elected in 2016, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you and work alongside you. I've known you forever.
I've been feeding you since
Pizza
you were about
Johnny,
that
yeah,
tall, man.
That's right. But to get to work with you, I've come to a different level of respect for you, and I know you to be a good man, and you always led with your heart up here, so I appreciate that. And to our new mayor, our mayor-elect, he was the mayor before me for 4 years, and it's been great to be able to work alongside of you, John. I know the city is in strong, capable hands, and I know that you will continue on a legacy of positivity and also lead with your heart as well. So I just want to thank you all for all of that. And so with that, that is my final goodbye, but it's not goodbye, it's farewell for now up here. But I'll be joining you all out there and helping in any way I possibly can, because I've always lived in this city and I love this city with all of my heart, and I will continue to be there with you every step of the way, because after everything, I am Holly Hill proud. So with that, I'm going to ask that we will go ahead with the installation and oath of office. So Commissioner Penny, if you would like to bring, do you want to do it yourself or bring? Okay.
We'll all go down together.
All right, so if the two new commissioners would like to come up and join Mayor-elect John Penny, and I believe John will be sworn in first. So who's swearing you in, John? All right, come on, Dad.
Chris, we stay here.
John, do you want us to stay here? Okay, all right.
I must tell you that this Bible is very special to our family. This belonged to my wife's great-great-grandmother. And it's got a lot of notations in it that she did several hundred years ago. But it means a lot to us.
Let everybody hear it.
You ready? I guess.
I, John Penny,
I, John Penny,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state of Florida
that I am duly qualified to hold the office under the Constitution of the state of Florida
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
of mayor of the city of Holly Hill,
of mayor of the city of Holly Hill,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Where did that microphone go? There it is.
I think we'll share that.
Okay.
And let me put my glasses on.
I, Deborah Snow,
I, Deborah Snow,
do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend,
do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly
to
qualified
hold the office under the Constitution
to hold the office under the Constitution
of the state of Florida
of the state of Florida
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
of the office of city commissioner
of the office of city
of
commissioner
the city of Holly Hill,
of the city of Holly Hill,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jeff. Go, Jeff, go.
Congratulations, Commissioner Snow. And now to Commissioner Jeff Delanoy, who would be joining us here in District 3.
Shorter than the stick here, you got the attorney doing it. So we're clear, no hugging the person, it's not all three times. Okay, you raise your right hand, repeat after me.
I, Jeff Delanoy. I, Jeff Delanoy.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly confirm,
Swear.
can't swear,
Yes,
confirm
That I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
I am duly qualified
to hold office under
to hold office under
the Constitution of the State of Florida
the Constitution of the State of Florida
and the Charter of the City of Holly Hill,
and the Charter of the City of Holly Hill,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
perform the duties of the office
perform the duties of the office
of City Commissioner of the City of Holly Hill,
for City Commissioner of the City of Holly Hill,
which I am now about to enter.
now that I am about to enter,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. I'm going to give this, you're going to have to sign this later, but I'm just going to give it to Valerie up there. You just get it after the meeting, all right? Where's this going?
So, before we change seats, Mr. Mayor, it's my honor to present you with this plaque. In recognition of your years of service to our community, Chris has led with vision, integrity, and deep commitment to our community. His efforts have paved the way for continued growth and unity in Holly Hill, and his leadership has left an indelible mark on our city. Chris, on behalf of the entire community, thank you for your dedication, hard work, and the countless hours you've invested in making Holly Hill a better place for us all. It's a privilege to carry on the work you've championed, and I look forward to building on the strong foundation you've set for us.
Just spread the applause out more.
Here, stay here because we'll switch seats now. So now is this, thank you for this gavel, first off. I was going to actually try to steal this one that I've used in the last 6 years, but now I don't have to. So, and that's a joke, just for the record. But this is when I became mayor, he was the mayor before me, as I stated before. And so we'll do the traditional passing of the gavel, and I will leave as your mayor, and we will have our new mayor, Mr. John Penny. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Joe? Thanks, Joe.
In the words of Martin Luther King, I'm free! I'm free at last!
Yes.
You won't get this treatment anymore.
Thank you.
Just understand.
Thank you, man.
Put that down a little bit.
Sit by Jeff.
So how's it feel? The seats aren't that comfortable, so that's why I move around a lot.
Yes, Jeff?
Sure. I got you right there. I'm fine.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and reconvene the city commission meeting with the new commission. Valerie, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Snow,
Here.
Commissioner Curry,
Here.
Commissioner Delanoy,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Penny.
Here. Brian, can you turn the volume? I think this portable mic is the hot one that's causing the feedback, but they can't hear us in the back. Can you hear better in the back now?
We shut that one off.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, well, good evening, everyone. My name's John Penny, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for the trust that you've placed in me as your mayor. It's a privilege to serve such a strong, supportive, and forward-thinking community. I'm excited to work alongside you to make Holly Hill an even better place to live. First, I'd like to welcome my two newly elected commissioners, Mom, thanks for the flowers, but they got to go down. I can't see.
They are beautiful.
I got to go. That's much better. So thank you both for stepping up to serve your community. Your dedication and passion for Holly Hill are invaluable, and I look forward to working with both of you together. My goal is to run a professional meeting and conduct our business openly. I want you to be passionate about the issues that are before us. We won't always disagree. We won't always agree. But I hope that whether you're on the winning side or the losing side of the vote, we can part as friends and not hold grudges for the next meeting. Sometimes you'll be in favor. You'll be the 4-1. Sometimes you're the 1-4. Come up with an idea you think's great, and you're just like a bug on the windshield. It's not very fun. But at the end of the day, we're all here to make Holly Hill the best it can be. I want to take a moment to thank my family. To my mom and dad, thank you for being incredible examples and teaching me the lessons I needed to be to get here today. To my wife and my children, thank you for always supporting me, no matter what crazy idea I came to you with. Your love and encouragement has made all of this possible, and I'm deeply grateful. As your mayor, improving communication is one of my top priorities. I have never embraced trying to solve a problem on social media. It may be an easy way to express yourself, but I don't believe it's an effective way to solve a problem. I will still use social media to post updates, however, I won't engage in discussions there. Social media often escalates issues rather than solving them, and I believe face-to-face or phone conversations are far better for understanding each other and solving problems. Together, let's focus on unity, on constructive solutions, and on celebrating the positive things that happen in Holly Hill. Speaking of positivity, I've created some Holly Hill t-shirts that represent this spirit. On the front, we've included the definition of positivity as a reminder of the strength we find in focusing on the good. On the back, it says, I Heart 417. Several years ago, I was thinking of ways to talk about Holly Hill, and the 417 mile marker was born. It marks our city's place along US 1, 417 miles from Key West, right here at City Hall. In the 50s and 60s, Holly Hill was a bustling town with visitors stopping over in motels along US 1, and I hope to bring back some of that shine to our downtown area. So if you're interested in a t-shirt, they'll be available at the end of the meeting. No cost, my gift to the community. I hope they serve as both a conversation starter and a reminder of the unique place Holly Hill holds in Florida. Now looking to the future, addressing our infrastructure needs is essential. On tonight's agenda, we are approving almost $1 million for upgrades to 2 of our lift stations, and another $1 million for engineering to improve the operations of our wastewater plant. This is a big investment, but it's only one piece of a larger issue. To truly tackle our flooding challenges, we need to think bigger and work closely with Volusia County and neighboring cities. Together, we can create solutions that make Holly Hill and the entire region more resilient. Additionally, as we plan for the improvements, we will hold public meetings to gather input from all of you. Your insights, experiences, and ideals are crucial as we work to make informed and effective decisions. The collaboration will help us all ensure to addressing the community's needs. We anticipate receiving the results of our vulnerability study in December. Once we have it, we will immediately work with an engineering firm, staff, and you, the public, to examine the findings in light of the actual damages we saw in Hurricane Milton and in previous storms. Once we have this information, we will generate a comprehensive plan to correct the problems we have. To fund these necessary improvements, we may need to issue a bond. We may need to take on debt. But it's an investment in the future and the safety of Holly Hill. The solutions to these problems won't happen overnight. It's going to be a long and very expensive journey. Our first public meeting probably won't be until after the first of the year. But thank you for your trust, for believing in our city, and for working together. I look forward to the positive steps ahead, and I'm excited to face these challenges with you together. So that's where I think we're going to go in the future. And I'm going to go ahead and defer to Commissioner Snow, if you'd like to say anything.
I would, thank you. Thank you to all who gave in some way support to me, whether it was a donation, whether it was just, Debbie, you can do this, it didn't matter what it was all of you that made this possible for me. First and foremost, I want to say I support what Mayor Penny just said. I don't have to repeat it, but our infrastructure, our storm waters, we have to deal with that before going any further. Not only for today and tomorrow, but we need to be looking ahead 5 years, 10 years, 20 years for the solutions rather than always running behind. Second, I will support all activities that protect our citizens. The police, the fire department, code enforcement, and the use of the countywide task forces to make our streets, homes, and especially our children and seniors safe. Look right, look left, help your neighbor, let them help you, and let us know what you need to do that. Our city needs a future that is filled with strong leadership. I would like to start with opportunities for everyone to learn how our city government works and the processes we go through for each decision. Get involved, become part of the future. I am surrounded by the best. Commissioner Johnson with his vast experience and diversified knowledge. Commissioner J.D. with his knowledge of the city. Commissioner Curry with her knowledge of the law and how it applies, and the fiscal responsibility and the ability to see and consider the effect our actions have comes from Mayor Penny. I will listen, I will learn, and I will bring my absolute best to the citizens of Holly Hill. Thank you.
Thank you. Like to say anything, Mr. Delanoy?
Pretty much ditto. I'm not a really big speaker. I want to let y'all know, I wasn't elected for this position. I did run 2 other times, 15, 16 years ago, and I ran against 2 pretty strong incumbents. One was Keith Terra. I don't know if anybody remembers Keith Terra. And then, and Lou Schmidt, which was his stepbrother, I believe it was, or brother. But on the time I ran really strong. I walked a lot of streets, knocked a lot of doors. I missed the election by 8 votes the first time and 25 the second, which was really incredible, I thought, and so did a lot of other people that were there at the time said, yeah, that was pretty incredible that you were that strong coming in. I wasn't anybody. And I just went to everybody and I talked to them. I wanted to know what was going on. That's the first time a commissioner ever came to my door, and ever actually asked me what was happening, and I just said, well, I want to know. I want to be informed of what's happening. And that's the way I feel when I'm sitting here. I want to be informed. If we're not informed up here, except for what we get, from the desks that Valerie might bring to us or Joe might present to us, we can't help. We can't get, we can't do the whole package. So that's really where I'm at. I just want to be informed. Yeah, my number's out there. You can call me, you can email me. I'm pretty much just what Deborah just said. I'm strong for law enforcement. My father was a police officer for many years, security down at the Cape. And so I grew up under, a good, strong leadership. And I know that, it's hard what we're going through right now. I lived here my whole life since 1961. I'm 68 years old. And it's a lot of changes. A lot of changes have happened, and it's happened fast, and it's sad. The meeting that we sat through with the everybody that came in from the hurricane, it's terrible. It's just terrible. I mean, I went home and I told my wife, I said, it was just terrible. I was in tears. It all makes me in tears just thinking about it now, just everything that everybody had to go through. But, it's not something we could have prevented. I've lived here, like I said, my whole life, and I've seen Holly Hill get wet. It gets wet, in some cases, it's worse than others, and it's not something we can quick fix. But I know that everybody here is strongly dedicated for as much as we can put into this to get something done, to see, to accomplish some relief from, hopefully in the future. So that's about all I got to say. Just thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, now we'll start with item 3 on the agenda, which is the reorganization of the City Commission. And we have 2 appointments. We have the selection of the vice mayor and the appointment to the TPO. Mayor Johnson has served us well in the TPO for years, and it would be my recommendation that he continue that role on the TPO as our representative. But what I found is that at those meetings, there's a lot of other elected officials there, and many of them have a title in front of their name, vice mayor. And they tend to get a little more attention when they show up as a vice mayor. So I would be honored if someone would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Roy Johnson as the vice mayor and to represent us on the TPO.
But not me, right?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that Commissioner Johnson step into the role of vice mayor and also continue to represent us on the TPO, but don't forget we need to do an alternate for
Right.
that.
And so you may want
Would
to...
you like me to go ahead and add to
Would you
that
add
motion?
something to, I think Commissioner Snow has shown some interest in that position.
I think Commissioner Snow has a lot of just go get 'em, and I like that. That was definitely me when I first came on. I still have go get 'em, just not quite the same. But I think she'd be a perfect asset to begin to learn the TPO because it's not easy. So I would like to make a motion also that Commissioner Snow be the alternate on the TPO.
So would someone like to make a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Would anyone from the audience like to discuss this motion on the floor before us? Seeing none, I close audience participation. Any discussion needed?
Nope.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Why didn't I?
And now we have a special time, presentations, where we're going to swear in one of our newest police officers. Chief?
Good evening, Commission. Chief Irwin, the Holly Hill Police Department. Today it's a special honor to introduce Officer Reed tonight, Elijah Reed. Officer Reed has demonstrated a strong commitment to service, upholding the core values with integrity, dedication, and professionalism of law enforcement. His journey to this point reflects not only his own hard work, but also the support of his own family and community itself.
Chief, I think you need to turn that mic on. They can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Get ready for it to squeal.
It's on the bottom. All right. Officer Reed, did you go up for me?
There we go. Oh, you're already there. See, this is what I love, anxious, he's ready to get to work. You turn around for me. So a little bit about Officer Reed. Officer Elijah Reed began his law enforcement career with the Daytona Beach Police Department and comes to Holly Hill Police Department with nearly 4 years of experience. Through that duration, he has earned himself several commendations, to include the Medal of Honor, awarded for exceptional acts of courage and commitment in the line of duty. Officer Reed chose the path of law enforcement due to the inspiration from his grandfather, who was a Chicago police officer for over 32 years. Officer Reed strives to continue to take pride in his accomplishments while seeking to learn from his experiences to better serve his community and his fellow officers as he carries the torch lit by his grandfather years ago. With that being said, family in attendance tonight, it will be his wife, Amanda, and she will be coming forth to pin the badge on her husband. She seems very comfortable tonight, sticking it in. Congratulations, Officer Reed. So, with that being said, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Elijah Reed,
I, Elijah Reed,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state of Florida
under the Constitution of the state of Florida
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of the police officer
the duties of police officer
of the city of Holly Hill,
of the city of Holly Hill,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir. So with that being said, I always have a parting word for our newly appointed officers. Officer Reed, with this badge, you are not only representing the department, but also carrying forward responsibility to serve and protect our community with honor and courage. I want you to remember that wearing this badge is a privilege. It is a privilege that carries the weight of responsibility, not just to uphold the law, but to uphold the trust of the communities you will serve. People will look you in their moments of fear and vulnerability, and your reaction and your response will leave a lasting impression forever in their lives. Never underestimate the influence you have, and always strive to be positive force for good. With that being said, we stand with you in this commitment and look forward to your contribution to the Holly Hill Police Department. So congratulations and welcome to the family, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Now we'll move to item 5, which is public comments. This is the time for the audience to address the commission on items that won't be on our regular agenda. Would anyone like to address the commission? Well, my dad raised his hands first, so he's coming up first.
Thank you, son.
You have to state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Mr. Mayor. My name is Jerry Penny. I live at 6606 Maryville Lane, Port Orange. I'm not a citizen or a resident of Holly Hill, nor am I a business owner. But I have a lot of friends here and have a lot of fond memories. I think the first memory I remember was when I was a youngster. I used to ride my bicycle up to get milk at Bishop's Dairy. We used to bring youngsters down to play Little League Baseball in the tournaments. Played flag football, basketball, and everything. Those are all really, really good memories. But the greatest memory I have of all is tonight, getting to swear, his mother and I getting to swear our son in as mayor. I've known him longer than anybody in here. And I know that he loves Holly Hill, and I know it's headed in the right direction. And that's as evidence of the building that's going on 6th Street, the upscale RV park that's going on the Bishop's property. And Pictona. Pictona is a gem. It has drawn people from throughout the state, the country, and probably some international folks that I don't know of. But it's great. I've got a lot of volunteers and city businessmen that have come together and created a lot of things. They oversee the art festival, car shows. They have mentored some of the children in our school here. And they put on movies at night for the kids. And they're to be applauded. The latest thing they've done is that they raised enough money to buy the police department a police dog, and that's not cheap. But all of these things bring money and people into Holly Hill. And Holly Hill is headed in the right direction. And I think that the citizens of Holly Hill are okay with what's happening, and that's evidenced by the latest election. There were 3 openings. 2 were filled uncontested. So I say all this to say thank you, keep up the good work, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a lot to say, so I have to, my name is Tom Grounds. I live at 1015 Cherokee Ranch Road. I've lived here for 45 years. We've raised 5 kids there. Our oldest son lived with us at the end, and he was disabled. He was rather large. The reason I'm here is on September 38th, I noticed a gentleman out in my water meter, and I went out and talked to him. He was putting a new meter reader in. I asked him why. He said, the city said my meter was reading wrong, and they were putting a new meter in. My water bill came this month, and it was a 98.5% increase over last month. My son lived with us. He used a lot of water. He was big. Every time he had to go to the restroom, he'd take a shower. He was 500 pounds. March 9th, he unfortunately had to go to rehab, and he's been in rehab, and since March 9th, our water bill has dropped to just under $100 a month, because it's just me and the wife. The neighbor asked me why my meter wasn't reading right, but that's what the difference was. It wasn't that my meter wasn't reading right. He wasn't there anymore, and it was just me and my wife. And nobody has explained to me why my water bill went up 89.5% in 1 month now. I spoke to the city manager. He actually threatened to hang up on me, told me I was being rude. I explained the story to one of the other people, and they said, well, gee, we really don't know who lives there, as if I was lying to them. And I'm not here to be anything. I just can't understand why my water bill went up 89.5% after they put this new meter reader in my, I've had 2 plumbers at the house. Both of them, the meter wasn't leaking. I go out there daily, take the cover off and check it myself. It's not leaking. And my name of this story is you can't fight City Hall, because I'm not getting anywhere, and there's no way my water bill went up 89.5% with just me and my wife at the house. And that's my story. I don't know how to explain it, but with just me and my wife at the house for 5 months, it dropped to under $100 a month, and that's when they decided my meter wasn't reading right. And it was perfectly fine. It was just me and my wife. And I don't know what to do about it. I've been here for 45 years. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, right now is just your time to voice your concerns to the commission.
That's what I'm doing.
And I'm making notes, and at the
Okay.
end of public comments, we'll address your concerns.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. One other thing. I'm on your Iowa Water Watch. I've got 20-year reports, every one of them, no leak detected. Great job. So I don't know what's going on.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the commission? Yes, sir, in the green shirt. Just state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Kyle Stickney, 1490 Graham Avenue. I've noticed that you got a little prayer before your meetings. You pray in the name of Jesus. So I'm going to go through a couple scripture with you guys, since it's obvious to me that you guys don't read the Bible, let alone obey it. Psalm 66:18 says, if I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear my prayer. Proverbs 28:9 says, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, that's the Constitution of the United States. That's not the statutes and ordinances that are put there to overthrow it. Even his prayer shall be an abomination. If you regard sin, greed, and unjust gain in your hearts, God says he doesn't hear your prayers. He actually calls them an abomination, which is a strong hatred or abhorrence towards your vain prayers. 2 Corinthians 11, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Then there's no great thing that his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. For years, I've been here 40 years now. For years, I've heard a lot of talk about pride and love. I love my little city. I've got so much pride in my little city. I love you guys. Get into what the Bible says about pride and love. Proverbs 16:18 says, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before the fall. Obadiah chapter 1 says, the pride in your heart has deceived you. You that dwell in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, then will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. That scripture is a direct reflection of the haughty, proud members of this council and the previous councils, and you won't have immunity on Judgment Day when you stand before God and give account for every thought, word, and deed. Proverbs 16:15 says, everyone that's proud is an abomination to the Lord. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. Proverbs 11:2 says, when pride comes, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. Galatians 6:3 says, for if a man thinks of himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. Proverbs 8:13 says, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Pride, arrogancy, and the evil way in the foul mouth do I hate, saith the Lord. God hates pride. God exalts the humble. Love. Love not in word and in tongue, but in deed and in truth. Okay? Matthew 15:8, Jesus said, these people draw near to me with their mouth and they honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Jesus said, you shall know a tree by its fruit, and a good tree cannot bringeth forth evil fruit, and a corrupt tree cannot bringeth forth good fruit. Judge a tree by its fruit. John said, the axe is laid to the root of the tree, and every tree that bringeth forth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Don't be cast into the fire. Bear good fruit, repent, fear God.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Hanger.
Hey, man. Robert Hanger, 950 Ridgewood Avenue, 929 State Avenue. I just want to say thank you to the past commission and the mayor. I'm very humbled by where we have come, but also I've known Roy for many years, since I was little. And John, I've known him quite a few years. I'm very humbled with the staff that we have, the commission that we have. I appreciated hearing the comments of where we want to go, where we've come, and the two new people that see where we've been and where we need to go from here. I feel like Joe and the city attorney have a great staff to work with. I feel like the people here should be very humbled to live here and honored that we have people like you two that are willing to step up and be a part of this, because we have a job. We have a job ahead of us, and you know, I've lived here all my life since the day I was born. I came home from Daytona Beach, Halifax Hospital to Selma Street, and I've lived here all my life, and I love this town. I've built new home here. I own several homes, or a couple of homes here, and I just love the community. I really believe that we're on a great track, and we need to keep moving forward. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
That's all.
Anyone else like to address the commission this evening? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna come up there and talk. I'll come up there and talk.
How do you want the microphone to?
Party friend.
I'm gonna try. Can you start it?
3 minutes, wow, thanks, Mayor, new mayor, ex-mayor, former mayor. My name's Gabriel Varga. I'm the pastor of the Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church and Daytona Rescue Mission, 501 Ridgewood Avenue, Holly Hill. I'm here representing the Lord Jesus Christ. We've had some atrocities going on in this city. 25 years. Mr. Penny, as the third-time mayor, and the city is only supposed to have two-term mayors. We got mayors all over the place, sitting all over this place. We're going to be mayors again and again. Mr. Penny, Mr. Forte, Mr. Johnson, I'm glad for these two new ones. I hope you're free thinkers and you pay attention. If you want to be part of the regime, we'll find that out fast. But if you really want to do something, I hope you will. Now, for 25 years, they've destroyed our sewer system. They had a meeting here, a workshop, where the place was full, and we wouldn't let anybody talk. The ex-mayor had a pile of his cards here. Take a card and call us. He won't talk with you. Now they got us 3 minutes instead of 5 minutes. I hope so many of you other folks from this flood deal. At the workshop, Penny says, I don't know what to do about this. He giggling and everything. I don't know what that's all about. And he said, this is just starting. We're going to get it. Where you been for 25 years? They say it's going to take 25 years to fix. If you had started, it had been fixed. I talked with the ex-mayor, a friend of mine, from Ponch Inlet. They had the same problem. They got an engineer, and it's fixed. And they're right between the ocean and the river. Nothing's been done here. You've destroyed the city. You've taken away our recreation. You've taken around the baseball field. You've closed the parks. Now you've got your sugar daddy for Pictona, bringing in people from all over the country. Isn't it wonderful? It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Pictona is doing nothing for this. This is my opinion, friend. Big mouth over there. Boss hog, I call him.
You need to address the commission.
Now listen. We need to get rid of Penny. We need to get rid of these other 25-year politicians. I don't know about these new ones. We'll give them a chance, listen to him a little bit. He can't keep his mouth shut. You ought to keep him away from commission meetings. He's become a millionaire.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Your time is up.
Yeah. Thanks for stealing 2 minutes from me. That's you. Been running this city for 25 years. It's time to get rid of you.
Time is up.
Time to get rid of you.
What Bible do you read?
Hey, now, we're not going to have outbursts from the audience. If you're not going to behave like adults, you're going to be asked to leave the room. Keep your comments to yourself. Mrs. Smith?
Lynn Smith, 107 7th Street. I have a megaphone and a corner on the streets in Daytona during Bike Week for the gentlemen who've been preaching how wicked we all are here. However, I feel differently, and I appreciate the effort and the time and the putting yourself out there, and all you guys have to endure from people who are not as invested in trying to be positive and moving the city forward, but like to just complain, like you said, on social media and harassing the people who are generally trying to help them. You know, just because your houses may not have flooded, or my house didn't flood, a property I own did, it doesn't mean I can't have empathy for the people who those things happen to. So for everyone who boasts about, oh, city officials don't care about me and blah, 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 that's absolutely not true. And I know a lot of these people personally, and because their house didn't flood, doesn't mean that they don't care that yours did. They do care. And as Mayor Penny has said, he outlined 4 or 5 different steps that they're going to take and have approved that are going to now take care of the problem. Whatever happened in the past that didn't get it done, that we just have to let that be. And yes, feel bad for the people who have suffered and continue to suffer. But I believe that if we all work together and try and support each other and support the city, instead of calling for people to be fired and blah, blah, all that, I think that we can get a lot more done by working together and presenting some positive ideas to the people in power instead of bashing them. I don't see anybody who complains on social media or who comes here ever once run for a city commission position or even come to meetings previously before coming up and standing on their soapbox. So I don't want to appear that I'm really bashing the town people either, although I could, but I'm not going to do that because I want to be part of helping the people who run the city and helping the citizens also. So, as they suggested, everyone's got their time to come up here. Come to these meetings with some positive things to say, with some solutions perhaps, with ever your best educated ideas and opinions could be. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for all you're about to do.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the commission this evening? Mary.
Mary Nichols, 1715 Anniston Avenue, Holly Hill. Hi, John. Congratulations, everybody. I guess I'm a little angry right now because I'm listening to all of this talk from somebody telling us that we should be coming with ideas. That's not my job. I have to come up with ideas of my house's slab is sinking into the ground currently, and I have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage to my home right now. So excuse me if I'm not coming here with solutions to the flooding problem. I have a couple questions I'd like to know. When are we going to be cleaning out all of the canals, drainage, all of that? Is that going to happen? Because we have a potential storm coming next week. And I want to know what's being done about it. Are we going to offer people more than 10 sandbags at a time? Because that's not enough. It doesn't even cover a garage door. So I need to know that maybe we can possibly do that, because if we do get this storm, it doesn't look like it's going to be very great. So I just would like to know if we could get some answers to that. Also, I had asked in the last meeting, when was the last time that the city trimmed trees over the streets and the electrical lines? Because there's currently a tree on Flomich at the end of Anniston that a branch came down and it's just hanging there. There's a palm tree at Mirage that's ready to fall onto Flomich. I don't know if anybody's aware of that. It's leaning over and it's about ready to come out of the ground. So if we could just maybe look into that. But I don't feel like, I understand we're down to 3 minutes now, and I get it. It's because people come up here and it's not productive, and it takes away from the people that need to be productive. I mean, it's great that you want to come up and praise everyone and tell all of us that live in this city that, that we suck, basically, but that's not helping all of us with our homes. I mean, I honest to God, I have leaks in my roof. My ceiling is ready to fall down in one room. I had 2 65-foot trees come out of the ground last week that I spent $5,000 to have removed because they were going to fall on my home. The slab of my house is sinking into my backyard, and my backyard is at an angle. My pool and all of the concrete around my house is cracking and breaking because it's all uneven, and the ground is so wet at my house that my yard is a mud pit in the back. So I'm hoping we can get some solutions to this
Thank you.
without being unproductive. Like you waste all of our time.
I see someone standing next, I can't see your face, but I see you're next to Mary. Come on.
Danielle.
I'll start now. Danielle Latona,
Wait, you have to record it. Yeah, you have to.
Oh, okay.
We record the
I
meeting.
thought I was talking loud enough. 904 Newcastle Court, Holly Hill.
What's your name?
Danielle Latona, Latona. I'm kind of like where Mary's at, and probably some other people in here. I want to congratulate the new city commissioners, and hopefully we can all work together. This has been since 2009, so when I hear this isn't a quick fix, my blood boils and my blood pressure jumps up 50,000 points. I understand that it's not a quick fix. Okay, 2009 to 2024 isn't considered a quick fix. That is the first time that we flooded. When the townhomes on Alabama were built, the 500-year storm, the 100-year storm, the 300-year storm. I get rain for 20 minutes and I got to put sandbags on my front porch. This is not a 100-year storm. There's a problem. We know there's a problem, right? We've all acknowledged that. So my question, one of my questions is, since the last meeting and the discussions with many of you prior to the meeting, have we found anything out about FEMA and what the next steps are? Has anything been done that was said was going to be done the last meeting, and we'd have answers this meeting? Mr. Forte, now Mr. Penny, has anything been done? Has any phone calls been made? Do we know what our next steps are? Or do I need to continue to call the news time and time again, and then call our congressman, and then go to our senator, and then go all the way up to the President of the United States? Because this isn't fair. I understand what you were saying.
You need to address me, ma'am.
No, I'm making a point. Okay, I understand what the young lady was saying, that we need to come up with solutions, so I do have a solution. Will you support the CERT? Do you guys know what CERT is? Does anybody here know what CERT is? Okay, no, it is the Community Emergency Response Team. And in order we could start it, but it would be nice if the commission supports it, which will then make it an official organization of community members that will help each other take care of some of the issues that aren't being addressed, regardless of who's addressing them and who's not addressing them. So if you guys can look into that, I will work on my end and get members in our community, especially those in flood zones, but we would like other people, because there are things like people are saying they want to help us. I still have drywall that needs to be cut. My insurance company hasn't shown up yet. I'm working 8 hours a day and then coming home and working 8 hours a day on my house, cutting drywall. So I'm asking, if people want to help, outside of the meeting, I will leave my phone number. I'll be more than happy to start organizing the CERT and getting something done. And if the culverts can please be addressed before this storm comes up, because there's still, nothing has been done with them. So I'm asking, no, I'm begging, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Scott Singler, 832 Carswell Avenue. I spoke at the meeting 2 weeks ago. I was the first one to speak. I pretty much said what I wanted to say and I left, and by the time I got back of the room, I still had time left, but I realized I didn't say everything I wanted to say. So I don't envy any of you. I really don't. I mean, this is a big problem. But the city is built low. It's always been low. There's issues there, and I don't envy any of you. I'm not an engineer. You know, the last time I took my time kind of explaining why a lot of the water gets down onto Carswell off of Ridgewood Avenue and off of State and all that, and then it doesn't drain because of the East Coast Railway ditch is where it drains to, but that's plugged. I'm not complaining, I'm just kind of stating a fact. I personally think that back in 18, I think it was, the city commission missed an opportunity to address the flood issues that we have here with the 15 acres that is now the Pictona, that was baseball courts. They were below 10th Street. If you go down 10th Street where Carswell comes in, you'll see there's a concrete drain that runs right into there. It always used to drain there. They raised it up. That's water under the bridge. You're not going to take it out. I know you're not going to take it out. I'm not blaming anything, but I want to just reiterate, I think this is the solution, or it helps. The solution is to extend that drain, that main drain line that goes under Carswell, because that's the lowest spot. That's where it all ends. Run that thing. You still own, I'm assuming you still own the property where the pickleball courts are. So you shouldn't have to ask anyone's permission. Extend that storm drain all the way out to the LPGA canal with pumps. Pump it to the canal, force it into the canal. I realize that everybody thinks that's going to back it all up. And I don't know, maybe you don't, I think the canal probably belongs to the county. I don't know for sure. If it doesn't, my suggestion, and like I said, I'm not an engineer, but I believe if you were to put, I've been in South Florida, Alligator Alley. I don't know how many people have been now. There are some huge pumps that feed a canal down there. That canal is twice the size or 3 times the size of the LPGA canal. If you were to put pumps where the water goes into the intercoastal, block it off so that the intercoastal can't push back up into it, pumps on the backside, pump them out into the intercoastal, separate that LPGA canal from the intercoastal, basically, pump the water out and over the top, just like they do down in South Florida, into the intercoastal. Once the water hits the intercoastal, there's millions of miles and acres for that water to go. It's not going to raise the water in that thing. It's not going to raise that water. That's just, I'm not an engineer, but that's my
Thank you, sir.
thought. It could be a plan.
Anyone else like to address the commission on it? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Danielle Alderette. I live at 714 Grove Avenue. I had a whole thing, but I'm going to break it down a little bit. To the gentleman with the water complaint, I have a water complaint problem too. I got a bill. It was dated from the 16th to the 16th. The next month, I got a bill, and it was backdated from the 31st through the 16th of the next month. That's double billing. I sent an email, and I asked, why? Why am I being double billed? Actually, I called first, and the lady couldn't help me, but she agreed it came off unethical. That bill didn't come out until the 18th. That means they had 18 days to fix that bill to make it accurate the first time. But it wasn't, and now I don't get a response. You wonder why we don't care? Because you don't respond. Because the gentleman comes up here and you act haughty. That's why we come off like you don't care. Why we come off pissed off. As for the canals, I did my research back in 2022 when I flooded. And I was shocked to come to the meeting, the workshop meeting, and find out that y'all didn't know about the canals, that y'all didn't understand that Volusia County is in charge of those canals. They're called mosquito control canals. According to the Volusia County and the multiple people I've talked to there, they don't require those to be a certain depth. All they require is a minimum of flowing water, and I mean minimum. That's what I was told. It doesn't matter how slow it goes, as long as it goes. We can request that the canals get cleaned up, but if they come out and they see water movement, they don't have to clean them up. So why we have drainage into canals that don't require a certain depth, that don't have to be cleaned, that don't have to be maintained, is shocking. And you wonder why we flood. We flooded in 2022, and y'all didn't know in 2024? Why? You didn't know about the own canals in your own city. That is shocking to me. And then we're supposed to be like, you care. If you care, you do the job of the government, which is service to the people. And if you're not in service to the people, and you come off as dictators or rude, then you're not. I don't have time to go over my other complaint about the police department, but you know what? That one, I'll just file. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the commission? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Deborah Griffin. I live at 1613 Decatur Avenue at the dead end section. And there is a canal at the end of my street, but my neighbor told me it's not called a canal because it doesn't flow anywhere. So I guess she called it a moat or something like that. But I've flooded 14 times now since 1998. That's 13 times too many. There's no drainage on my street. There's supposed to be a ditch on the other side of the road from my house. Well, there's only houses on one side anyways. There's supposed to be a ditch there, cleaned out, to go all the way to that moat or the fake canal. And the city came there, well, they've known about it for 15 years. I've been complaining about it, or more. They came there and put the flags in, red for water and yellow for gas and all that, but they never sent anybody out to dig the canal. And then the storm came, and now the flags are gone. And the city, those two people at Public Works know absolutely nothing. That you call them and, oh, we'll have to look at the work order, oh, we'll have to put in a work order. But nothing ever comes of that work order. They just don't do their job. They both need to be fired, Steve and Beth. They're useless. And I'm tired of flooding every time it rains. I got 2 layers of sandbags around my whole house so that I don't flood, but the water still gets in somehow. I don't know how. I guess it comes in underneath the sandbags onto the foundation. I don't. But I'm sick of it, and I need drainage on the street, storm sewers, something. Clean out that canal and see if it helps, so if the water can go in there. But the road is crowned for the water to come into my yard, because I was built in 1947. All the other houses are newer and higher, and so the water doesn't go over to the other side. I need a storm drain in my yard, just the sewer that stinks all the time when it gets water. But the city said, oh, we can't afford that. Well, I've lived there for 25 years. I think I've paid for that sewer to be dug under the road to go to that canal over and over and over again. So I've had, I need a storm drain on my street somewhere, and preferably my yard, to help me out. Because 14 times to flood is too many. That's a lot of cleanup. And now that I'm old, it's harder to move furniture in and out of rooms. So please look into that. I've mentioned that to you before when you were mayor before. Mayor Villa was supposed to help me. He talked to the city manager. He did nothing. He's useless too. So we just need to get something going on my street. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the commission on anything not on a regular agenda this evening?
Sir, I'd like to add a comment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir, but for decorum, I'll speak to you after the meeting, but right now, you've already come up once. I can't allow you to speak again. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Christina Bolin, 1716 Center Avenue, Holly Hill. First, I'd like to congratulate the newcomers. I hope you all have a backbone because, yeah, it's kind of obvious. Everyone else up here always approves everything. But I hope you question the things and listen to the public comments and the concerns, because it's all very important. And everyone that is speaking up has a heart, and I mean, their issues are relevant. They really are. Everyone up here knows my opinion regarding this city, but this city really needs to get it together, especially when it comes to stormwater management. If you all just look around, the ditches, the canals, the drains, our roads, everything's been long neglected. You all should do something about it. You really should. Dredge the canals, clean them, remove the vegetation, stop allowing increased development, and our stormwater system being obstructed is just, it's not good at all. You all have proven to violate your own municipal code. You've allowed for a stormwater easement to be and remain obstructed, which personally hits home for me, as you all up here know. You all have ignored issues brought to your attention over the course of years, yet you smugly keep ignoring concerns and approving projects and changing land use and zoning when it's detrimental to do so. All you see is dollar signs, but you're causing the community harm. It's obvious you don't care about the environment, the infrastructure, the stormwater management systems, or our community as a whole. Our streets flood without a hurricane, and what are you all going to do about it? It's been years of the city dismissing the problems, sweeping things under the rug, and yet you keep building and act like it's a surprise that many in this community are upset. Your decisions and the permitting of things to keep continually taking place, it's shameful. But with 48 seconds left, I just want to, again, congratulate the two new people up here. You all are hopefully going to be the cause of growth and change. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Borger, and my property address is 900 Newcastle Court in Holly Hill. And I remember from one of the prior meetings, there was talk about stop building on new projects until our issues have been fixed. So I don't know if there's been an update to that, because something with the RV park, that they were going to stop building on that and just put a moratorium on certain projects until they fix the issues that we're having. So I didn't know if there was any update to that.
Like I said earlier, this is not a question and answer. If you state your comments, we'll try to address your concerns at the end of public comments.
Oh, no, that's just all I had to say.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else like to address the commission? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public comments, and we'll try to entertain some of the things that came up. Ironically, I agree with a lot of what was said here. I know sometimes we may come across as we don't care, but we do. Everyone up here cares about this city and cares about your concerns. Mr. Forte and I last Friday got in a four-wheel drive vehicle and toured the canals in our city on the north end of town. There's a canal that goes from north to south on the east side of town and north to south on the west side of town, right by Nova Road. We only had time to tour the north side. It took us about 3.5 hours. And we were shocked at the deplorable condition of the ditches and the canals. But the county is responsible for those ditches and canals. With that being said, the city is responsible for a lot of the side ditches and canals, not canals, but the ditches beside the roads. And we were at fault too. They're not perfect. We toured neighborhoods where some of the ditches, there's a swale in someone's front yard, and over the last 10, 15, 50 years, people have claimed it as their own and have filled it in to level their yard. And so we're going to be addressing those things. I heard some comments. I heard some creative ideas. Mrs. Smith came up, and her husband is a contractor, and we have a lot of conversations over the fence about how to fix these things. But I'm not an engineer, and I don't know if there's anyone that is an expert on water in the community right now. But we are hiring professionals, and we're going to have to rely on that information. That's the difficult thing. It's hurry up and wait. I was lucky enough not to have 4 inches of raw sewage in my house or 4 feet of raw sewage in my house like some of you did. Doesn't mean we don't care. We're trying to address it, but we don't want to throw good money after bad. I heard someone talk about pumping the LPGA canal, which belongs to the county. There was a study and a project to put a weir at the end of the LPGA canal and pump it into the river like someone suggested. the county declined our input on that. It's their canal. So what, I've talked with Mr. Forte over the last couple months. What we're going to try to do is propose, we're going to put pressure. We're going to need you to come with us to the county council meetings and put pressure on them. We're going to fix our ditches, and we're going to do everything we can to fix their ditches. We may even have to pay to fix their ditches, but I think we need to do it. And so we need to take it by the horns, but we can't jump forward too quickly. We can't throw good money after bad. The time for some of these creative ideas is going to be after we have the studies from the professionals. We'll have data. There was a study done 9 years ago, a citywide study done addressing flooding. At that time, I think it was almost a $50 million project, and we were looking to relieve flooding throughout the city by 1 inch. It's not an easy solution. If they can do it in downtown Miami, and they can do it in New Orleans, we can do it here. We just have to ask ourselves, how much do we want to spend to fix it? There may be some communities, we've heard neighbors say, I'll sell my house to FEMA. It's a long process, folks. They don't just come in with buckets of money. It's at least a 3 to 5 year process before they can take your home over. I know it's easy for me to sit here and say, be patient, but we have to be patient and we have to work together collectively and not point the fingers at each other. I know emotions get hot, and one of the best pieces of advice my father gave me when I first got in politics was, it's very difficult for people to tell the difference between anger and passion. When we get passionate, we pound our fists on the table, and we talk, and our voices raise, and our blood pressure boils, and our veins pop out. We're not mad, we're just passionate. And so we need to agree to disagree on some of these issues, but we are going to move forward together. And everyone at this commission is committed to it. Mr. Forte and I are going to tour the south end of town this Friday. It's terrible. You should see the pictures. And whoever said that if it just flows a little bit, that's acceptable to their standards. What I believe our problem is we have a capacity problem. Everyone wants to push the water. But if we could make the ditches straighter and make them canals, maybe make them concrete ditches, and double the size of these canals, we double the capacity, and we hold it and we don't have to pump it. Our whole system is gravity fed. Our sewer system is another problem. It's gravity fed until it hits a lift station. When 3/4 of our lift stations in our city were underwater and without electricity, the sewer system doesn't work anymore. And unfortunately, a lot of you experience that difficulty. We're working on it. We're getting bypass pumps. Old thought was put generators on these lift stations. And guess what? The generators aren't as reliable as diesel pumps. So Antoine and Public Works has now decided that we're going to retrofit these lift stations with diesel pumps. So we're working on flooding issues. We won't have any public input probably till January. You can come back every meeting if you want, but unfortunately we won't have any more information for you until after the first of the year. So I ask you to be patient. Someone mentioned the RV park stopping construction. It's still under construction. There's no moratoriums in our city for construction at this time. Two things I heard that I don't have answers for, and maybe Mr. Forte can chime in on this. Two people were concerned about water bills and water meters and that type of stuff. And do you have any comments on that, Mr. Forte?
Is that working? I'll have to have them contact the utility billing department, and I'll look into it.
Val, do you have any cards for? Okay. So if you have a concern, I know you had a concern. If you'll get the card and give them a call tomorrow, I would suggest that you send them an email. Sometimes voicemails get lost in the shuffle.
I spoke to 3 different associates down there already, including the supervisor.
Well, maybe we need to get in touch with the department head. So we'll work on that for you, okay? And so the maintenance on the canals was another big thing with the potential storm coming. Unfortunately, we don't have the manpower to do anything with the county's canals. We don't have the equipment, we don't have the manpower, and we're just going to have to be at mercy of whatever comes in the next 2 weeks. Sandbags, I'm not sure. I know there was a territory or regional shortage of sandbags this last storm. We ordered and ordered and ordered. We ran out of sandbags. Every city in Volusia County ran out of sandbags in the last storm. So we can work on that. But I think those were the major things. CERT, somebody mentioned CERT. I seem to remember at some time we had a CERT team here in town. And I don't think it's that difficult to reinstate, so. Do you have any comments, Joe?
No, we did have a CERT team. I started a CERT team when I was the fire chief. We had a CERT team back when Lou Schmidt was here. The CERT team is only as good as the members that make up the CERT team. And if there's no interest, there's no CERT team. So if the community wants to be involved in a community emergency response team, I'd be more than willing and happy to get that started. But it's not a city staffed function. It's a community staffed function. And if the community doesn't get involved.
Speak up.
I don't know why it's not working very well. So if the community doesn't get involved in what a CERT team does, then it won't be a CERT team.
All right, thank you. I think that's the majority of the things I made note of. If I missed you, get me after the meeting and I can talk to you one-on-one.
Mayor, the only other thing I'll add is I did send an email out to the people that asked me about FEMA and the purchasing of their property, and what I got back from the county was nothing is going to come out about that for 6 months, is what I was told. But you can always go online and look at the FEMA website and follow it yourself to see when FEMA opens up those opportunities for people to apply for that through the HMGP grant process. So don't rely on me alone. Go on the website and monitor what FEMA is putting out and let people know when these other opportunities come up.
Thank you. And one last thing, the lady that spoke about sandbags and the water getting under your sandbags, there's a proper way to use sandbags. The sandbags don't stop the water. So you have to have a vapor barrier, like a Visqueen or a tarp. You put the Visqueen or the tarp on the ground and you put the sandbags on top of it. That creates the barrier. So if you're just putting sandbags in front of your door or in front of your driveway, it's not going to do a darn thing but just go right underneath it. So there's a video on the county that shows the proper use of that, and I think Mr. Forte might have been instrumental in getting some of that instruction out to the Volusia County residents. But we're going to move on to item 5, which is approval of the minutes of the October 22nd, 2024 regular city commission meeting and the October 23rd, 2024 workshop and the October 30th, 2024 workshop.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Would anyone from the audience like to discuss the minutes from our last few meetings? Seeing none? Any discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries unanimously. We're now going to go to the consent agenda. The action proposed is stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless the city commissioner removes an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any item on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All 8 items I want to speak on.
Come forward. You state your name and address. You have 3 minutes to address us.
How much time do I have?
You have 3 minutes to address us.
Each one?
You have 3 minutes to address us.
For 8 of them, I got 3 minutes?
This is one item, sir. Consent agenda is one item.
I'll come up there. Have to wait a minute. Some of the other people ought to speak on the consent agenda too. That's where they sneak through stuff. You don't have to talk about it. That's what you call sneaky Pete, consent agenda. My name's Gabriel Barg. I'm pastor of Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church in Daytona Rescue Mission, 501 Ridgewood Avenue. Number 6, consent agenda. Peak-Tona, 1066 Ridgewood. They're giving that over to them. Why? Why isn't the Historic Society still in there? Giving it to Peak-Tona. They've given them $6 million. They pay all the rent. They have no lease. 50-year lease we're tied into. That's Mr. John Penny and Mr. Joseph Porte's specialty. People from all over the country coming. Pictona, Millionaires Club. It don't help a restaurant here because we ain't got no restaurants they want to go to. You ruined this city for all these years. Now you got Pictona, and now here you got a number 6 where you're giving it over to them. And they're going to change the name, and they're making money on it, and they're making money hand over fist. Pictona now, they got 1066 Ridgewood where the Historic Society used to be. They tried to throw next door over there. YMCA tried to throw them out and put Pictona in there, but YMCA, you know how much lease they give YMCA? 1 year. Pictona, 50 years. They pay for their chief administrator his whole salary. They pay all the utility bills. All of that. Yeah. Number 6. And there's a bunch of other shenanigans going on in there too. That's what they call the consent agenda. They say that you trust them because you don't need to know about it. Well, I don't trust them. I don't know if I trust her. I don't know if I trust him. I'll find out about that. You're on trial. I hope to work with you. You need to come over and visit at the church and we'll talk about our problems in Zone 1, new commissioner. I think Jeff might talk with me. I hope he will. Seems like a pretty open guy. Got 34 seconds left. Consent agenda. It's what they jam all their garbage through that they don't want you to know about. A lot of other cities do it too. You ain't the only city that does that. You know all that. Talk about something on the consent agenda. Keep them, ask them some questions. They ain't gonna give me no answers anyway. They just sit there and look dumb.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to? Yes, sir.
I don't like to speak on a lot of stuff I don't know about. I'm not going to falsely accuse you people. Some of you people. I know Kyle Stickney, 1490 Graham Avenue.
Which item are you speaking on, sir, on the consent agenda?
I'll speak about the pickleball, the Hollyland Park as I know it. What's the motive? Is it to bring money into the city? Is it to bring tax money into the city? Because it's like I said earlier, Jesus said you will know a tree by its fruit. What's the tangible fruit? The tangible, visible fruit of this city commission in the past 40 years since Mayor Arthur? What's the tangible fruit? You know a tree by its fruit, not flattering word and tongue, but deed and in truth. What's the fruit? You're rotten fruit. If those of us that have been here long enough, we know that it all falls on deaf ears. These young charismatics that have been in this city for 4 or 5 years, they still got hope in you people. We know it falls on deaf ears. You're a child of God or you're a child of the devil. You're one of the two. Are you a child of God or are you a child of the devil? You're going to end up in hell if you're a child of the devil. You better repent. You better fear the God of the Bible. And you better get right with him. You better start doing what's right because you ain't going to have immunity on Judgment Day. None of you. You're going to stand before God. You can laugh and mock, but you're going to stand before a holy and righteous Creator on Judgment Day, and you're not going to have an excuse for your sin, but you can be forgiven. You got to humble yourself.
Item 6, sir?
Huh?
Keep your comments to item 6, please.
This is item 6. This has to do with pickleball. It's directly related to pickleball. What's the motive and intent? Is it to bring money into the city? This is rhetorical. Is it to bring money into the city? Or is it to protect and gain favor with special interests? This is rhetorical. If I can sit up here and stare at you guys for a minute and just let my shirt speak. Why aren't you convicted? You have a seared conscience. You have a seared conscience with a hot iron. The Lord God has been knocking on the doorstep of your conscience, and you ignore him. The Bible says the wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. You flee because you're wicked. And these newcomers, you got a tough bout ahead of you if you're going to live righteous, if you're going to do what's right in the eyes of God. Because there's a lot of money being moved around. There's a lot of money being pushed around in shadow. And we might not be able to see it, but God sees it. And every man shall give an account of his own on the day of judgment. You don't have to worry about me. I want to see you in heaven, but you got to worry about God. You got to worry about God, and you got to worry about Judgment Day. Because none of us are guaranteed to make it home tonight. That's why the Bible says right now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Legare.
Jim Legare, 342 Berlin. Good to see you.
Which item you want?
Jeffrey.
Which item are you going to?
Item 6.
Okay.
I didn't see any of these people here when the Hollyland Park was rotting because we didn't have the budget to maintain it. I recall multiple conversations about what was going to go on there. I didn't see these people. I didn't hear from God or their interpretation of God. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to comment on the consent agenda?
Yeah, actually, I would. Do I have to say my name again?
Yes.
Yep. Danielle Latona, 904 Newcastle Court.
Which item would you like to discuss?
Number 6. And I just learned a little bit, so I'm not here thinking like I know everything that's going on, so I just asked some questions and just learned a little bit about number 6. I'm glad to see some of these other resolutions that have to do with our sewer and our water, and hopefully some of those issues will help us. So I understand it a little bit, but I guess one of the questions I have is, so Pictona is now going to be offering the services at 1066. And if there's fees involved, like say it's karate class, right? And it costs $100 a month for somebody to join the karate class. So Pictona gets that money, but we're paying for the electric and the utilities. So I think that's, like, my tax dollars shouldn't be paying for a private organization that is making money. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, because like I said, I don't know it all, but I don't think we should be paying taxpayers, especially in the situation that our tax dollars aren't fixing our flooding issues. And I think that should be a priority. Then, and I'm in favor of Pictona. I know a lot of people that go there, and because I got flooded, I haven't had an opportunity to go check it out. But, so it's not opposing anything, but when it comes to our tax dollars, I think people have a right to be concerned and know a little bit more about what's going on. Again, I don't have a problem paying higher taxes if those taxes are going to provide things for the residents of Holly Hill, and there may be some things that are being provided, but if there's fees for these services that are being provided, and it's not going to the city because now Pictona is going to get a lease for whatever time frame, hopefully I'm understanding that it gets reviewed every year, even though it's a 50-year lease, it still has to be reviewed by you folks up here yearly. I hope that is the truth. And so if some of those questions could be answered or thought about before a vote is made, because again, a lot of people that are going to Pictona and are not Holly Hill residents. So I don't see how some of that is benefiting us if we're paying for utilities and other items. I'd like to know more about it if there's an ability to give answers, because I believe education is the key to a lot of things. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Would anyone else like to comment on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close audience participation on this.
I'd like to pull an item for discussion.
Okay.
Item 6.
Okay. Would any other commissioner like to pull any other item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for consent agenda approval.
Motion to approve the consent agenda 1 through 8 minus 6.
6 or 7, I think.
6.
You need a second?
I'll second.
The new commissioners can make motions in seconds.
Are you
Let me
sure?
know.
Yes, feel free. I know the first couple meetings, it's a little intimidating with that, but
So we're going to approve all the items on the consent agenda except item 6. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now entertain Resolution 2024-R-93. Mr. Simpson?
Aren't you going to talk about item 6?
Yeah, that was it.
That's it.
That's it. On the cons- We haven't voted on it.
To have some discussion on it.
Pay attention.
Resolution 2024-R-93. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with Pictona at Holly Hill for the property located at 1066 Ridgewood Avenue, Holly Hill, Florida, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. So I heard the comments that we entertained this evening were all on item 6. There was many comments, more comments than questions, I believe. One of the misinformations that is continually repeated by individuals is that the Historic Society was removed by the city of Holly Hill to be relocated at Seco Hall. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Historic Society was crammed in their space over there across the street, and they came to the city manager and asked if they could relocate to Seco Hall. They doubled the size of their museum. They have their own parking, and they couldn't be happier. So let's concentrate on positive things, and let's stop spreading malicious rumors and misinformation and outright lies. So we talk about the lease, and it's a lease in a legal sense with Pictona. We basically should call it a management agreement because the city of Holly Hill owns that asset across the street. Pictona manages it for us. It's a very similar situation to the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA. Those nonprofit organizations provide services for our community that, quite frankly, make the difference between people making their rent payment or paying child care. So there are free and reduced scholarships available at the YMCA, and guess what? We pay their executive director's salary, and we pay their light bill. And we have a very similar situation with the Boys and Girls Club. And we have a very successful organization agreement with Pictona. So they're going to operate a wellness center over there. And if they didn't operate it, and the city tried to operate it, we don't have the staff, and we don't have the budget. So basically, we pay the light bill over there, and they run everything else. So there's no special interest getting rich on this thing. Money is set aside for future repairs. Amazing. Someone would think about having to put a roof on in 10 years when the roof goes away. They have to build reserves. They're doing education, and they're attracting people from all over the country and all over the globe to the city of Holly Hill. You can travel to an airport anywhere in our country, and someone will say, "Where do you live?" "I live in Holly Hill." You never probably heard of it, but it's right by Daytona. "Oh, isn't that where that pickleball thing is?" We are attracting attention to our city. I've had numerous people state that they moved to Volusia County, maybe not Holly Hill, but Volusia County because of Pictona. So when Volusia County wins, Holly Hill wins. So is there any...
I have some
Yes, ma'am.
discussion. Thank you. Along the same lines as what you were saying, I'm kind of the big pickleball person here. Not right now, I'm a lame duck with my wrist, but I've been a member of Pictona since it first started like 4 years or so ago. And I can tell you that that whole property, like the mayor said, is the city of Holly Hills. I'll say it's ours because it's ours. The only thing that you have to pay for over there is to play pickleball. You can pay daily, monthly, or an annual. That money goes to cover, like you said, maintenance. They are always doing things. They have really just beautified that place. They have a serenity garden, and it's just beautiful. But that stuff is paid for by the memberships of the pickleball players. There's another section over there that, I don't know, is it still called the senior center, or did we name it something else?
Activity center.
Activity center. I didn't think it was still that. There's an activity center there. And what that has is it has free 9-hole, I don't know if it's golf or putt-putt, because I can't play either. It has shuffleboard, it has croquet, it has cornhole, and I think
Sir, could you keep your comments to yourself? If you can't contain yourself, you'll be asked to leave.
I think that might be all, but those are all free. All you have to do is go over there, and they even have the equipment for you to sign out and use. And now with the Wellness Center, they have partnered with Florida Healthcare to run different wellness classes, if you will, out of there. And I've got several people I know that took dance classes over at the Activity Center. They were free. The only thing they did was maybe give a couple bucks to the instructor for like a tip. Other than that, it was free. So, no, it isn't a millionaire's club because I don't have enough zeros in my bank account for it to be a millionaire's club. And it's not special interest. We own that place. Take some pride in it. That is yours as well as it is mine and everybody else in here. Take some pride in it. I have tried to educate people about this place for the last 4 years, and when I finally am able to speak to them to explain what Pictona is and what Pictona does, they become enlightened because they realize it's not just some millionaire's club sucking up taxpayer money. No, the county put money into that through the ECHO grant, the largest ECHO grant that has ever been given in this county, for the recreation aspect of it. We're not dumping your tax dollars into that place. It runs itself. I don't know where else you could go that happens, but that's a pretty good deal. Not to mention, there are tournaments there all the time, at least one a month, that are either just kind of around the southeast, people attend from all over this country, and people attend internationally. We have professional pickleball teams that go there to play. We have the PPA, which is the Professional Pickleball Association. They put on tournaments there. That's a big attractor for people. Go to ESPN. You'll see how big pickleball. I thought it was kind of a joke when I first heard about it. I really didn't think it was a sport until I started doing my research. And I realized I was sadly mistaken. This is a huge sport that's been around since the mid-'60s. It's not a fly-by-your-seat, kind of thing that came in and it's going to go out. It's been around since the 60s. I can't remember the exact date in the 60s, but it was founded, and the name came from the guy's dog. So that's where the silly name of pickleball came from, the guy's dog. So I just want everybody to understand, we're not dumping your tax dollars in there. It's running itself. That's all.
Our sewer, though, and everything else that fails in the city.
Ma'am, you have to keep your comments to yourself, please. Thank you.
Could I say something?
Entertain a motion for approval,
Oh,
and then we'll have comments.
I'll make a motion to approve it. Just second it. And he second.
Any discussion? Maker of the motion, Mr. Conti?
I'd like to say one thing about it.
Yes, sir.
I used to, when my grandson was a little bit younger, before he was spending all of his time in baseball, I used to take him and his friends over to play pickleball, and they would charge me $10 for him to play all day if he wanted to. How in the world could that be a millionaire's club? He wasn't a member. He just go in there, we pay a fee, and he could play pickleball. And they would just let him use the paddles. They didn't even charge him for that. You know what I mean? So it's just, the thing about it is, like somebody says, like Penny Curry says, you need to do research on things before you start spreading negativity and lies about things, you know what I mean? And that's what it amounts to, you know?
Thank you. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll now move on to item 8, which is our regular agenda, which is Resolution 2024-R-95.
Speak up, Scott.
Resolution number 2024-R-95, by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual operating budget, appropriating open encumbrances and project carryover funds from the fiscal year 2023-2024 to the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, setting forth revenues and expenditures, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Forte?
Okay, so Mayor, each year, at this time of the year, the finance director, she's out of the office this week, we do a balance, we carry forward monies from the previous year into the current year's budget. These are projects that we discussed when we had a work session a few weeks ago when we talked about the capital improvement items. Anything that was not completed in the current year, those dollars get carried forward so that they're in this year's budget. It doesn't mean the project was intended to be completed last year, but it's items that they may be multiple year projects, but the monies have to carry forward each year so that they remain in the budget. That's what the purpose of this is. And attachment A outlines what all of those capital items are.
Thank you. Anyone from the public like to discuss this item?
I'd like to speak to it.
Yes, sir. I remind you to state your name, your address. You have 3 minutes to address the commission and stay on task on Resolution 2024-R-95.
Money?
Okay. I think we got it fixed.
Okay. My name's Gabriel Varga, 501 Ridgewood Avenue, Holly Hill. Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church, Daytona Rescue Mission. This budget has just been finalized, now they want to amend it. What are they amending? You know, you're supposed to have a budget, you're supposed to stick with it. That's what financial people do. And now you're giving them permission, we ain't even hardly into it, and we're amending it. What are we amending? Just giving carte blanche. Amend it, whatever you want to do. That's foolishness. And I speak against it because do your homework, make a budget that you can stick with, and don't turn around the first thing out the door and ask to amend it. And when you're talking about budget and money, we had the little speeches about how frugal you are with your money. They got over $3 million of our money, Pictona, and $3 million of the county's money, Echo. Over $6 million they got, they pay no rent.
We are not
Budget
now, sir.
They pay nothing. Stick to your budget. I got a minute left, 32 seconds.
Stick to the topic.
I will. You know, we brag about how wonderful Mr. Forte, he's the king of the grantsters. He can get grant money. The ex-mayor, your predecessor, got so many mayors around here, I don't know what to do with them. But anyway, he said about grant money that Forte can, you're going to get grant money, You know, you want to talk about the budget, they got to provide you with them records, people. Read my back, too. You need to repent. I've repented. I hope you have. But listen to this. I just want to say this. Holly Hill has millions and millions and millions of dollars in the bank right now. They ain't like the federal government, trillions in debt. We ain't in debt. We got money in the bank, and yet we can't do anything to fix our drainage system for 25 years. Now it's all in the future.
We're not talking about drainage
We're
system.
talking about the budget. You got millions of dollars in the bank.
In the budget.
And we're talking about amending the budget when you ain't hardly started it, and you ought to take some time
Sir,
to
time
put
is
some
up.
time in every,
Time is up, sir.
Time's over. Thank you. I'll be back soon.
Would anyone else like to discuss this item?
Mayor,
Seeing none, I'll close audience participation.
perhaps I could, I don't know why this thing's not working. Perhaps I could explain this for the simple mind.
Forrest, turn that up.
It's that.
It's that mic.
Mr. Forte, maybe you could explain government accounting, enterprise funds, and,
But what I can do is I could explain the way we do the carry-forward budget in the simplest of terms is if you purchased a car and you had a car loan, and every year you pay your $300 a month for your car loan, at the end of the year, you would have paid $3,600. That's what you budgeted in your home account. But that only paid for 1 year. So the next year, you have to budget, again, $3,600 for your car payment. That's what we're doing. We've budgeted the entire amount, but each year we have to carry it forward until the project is paid for and complete. We're not adding any money to it, we're just carrying forward existing dollars into the current budget year.
Mr. Forte, what we're amending and carrying forward is from budget 23-24 into the 24-25 budget.
That's right. You're bringing your savings account forward to finish paying for projects.
Also, well...
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve. Sorry.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion needed? Yes, ma'am.
I would also, well, no, I'll leave that for my comments. Never mind, I don't have anything.
Any discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll now entertain Resolution 2024-R-96.
Resolution number 2024-R-96, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Volusia County, Florida, amending the adopted budget for the City of Holly Hill for the fiscal year 2023, 2024, and providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Anyone from the audience like to discuss this? Seeing none, I'll close audience participation. Entertain a motion for approval.
I make the motion for approval.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion needed?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
That's the one they should have had questions about.
Now move on to the 2024-2025 VOCA Agreement, Victims of Crime Act. Mr. Forte?
Just closed my program out. The VOCA, that's the Victim Advocate Program, and each year we get grant money. Once again, the city gets grant money to help fund that position. Typically, they will reduce the amount of money that we get from the grant, and it is supplemented with taxpayers' money. This year, they're not reducing the amount of money that they're giving us for that position, but they've reminded us that they will probably reduce the amount of money moving forward. So because it's a grant-funded position, each year the commission approves that position.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Forte? Anyone from the audience like to discuss this item? Yes, sir.
Jim Legary, 342 Burley. Is this $50-something thousand of salary for somebody?
Let me open it up a second, if you would. I got it. Okay, so what we get is a total of $69,883. That's the total full-time benefits, salary and benefits package.
So how many victims do we One,
One employee.
one employee? And how many victims do we service?
I don't know that answer, but we can get it to determine what the victim advocate does and who she serves and what her role is in assisting the victims. The amount of the grant is $50,590.
But I'm just wondering if perhaps this employee can do other functions like the thing that I keep bringing up of outreach to the citizens.
Unfortunately, she cannot because she is restricted to the duties that are contained within the victim's advocate role. The grant monies won't allow that.
I would like under this thing to once again encourage the idea of somebody in our government running around to various different people so that we don't get them irate when they arrive here.
Anyone else from the audience like to discuss the Victims Advocate Program? Seeing none, I'll close audience participation. Entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
What are you on, number 2 or 3?
Second it.
Any discussion needed amongst the commission?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. We'll now move to our public hearings, which is ordinance 2024-0-3079. Second reading.
Ordinance number 2024-0-3079, by title only for second and final reading. An ordinance of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, amending the land development regulations by amending the official zoning map to designate the property.
Sir, if you're going to continue your discussion, you're going to have to take it outside. Thank you. Go ahead, Scott.
Property described in Exhibit A from CC1 Commercial Corridor District to Business Plan Unit Development, BPUD, Business Plan Unit Development, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Brian? I think that's off now, Brian. They can't hear you.
Yeah, it's on the bottom, Brian.
Be ready for a squeal.
We'll give you a new job back there. You don't have to carry a gun anymore.
It's on. It's on.
It is. Okay. There we go. Okay, this item was presented 2 weeks ago, but I'll give a synopsis of what we went over. This is to consider an ordinance that enacts a rezone from CC1, which is our Commercial Corridor District, to BPUD, which is a Business Plan Unit Development. This is for approximately 1.54 acres. It's located north of Mason Avenue, east of Daytona Avenue, and south of First Street. It's approximately 430 feet west of Beach Street. The property has a commercial future land use. The reason why the applicant is requesting the rezone is because they wish to develop a 40-foot tall indoor climate-controlled storage facility that will have a footprint of 33,262 square feet. The applicant has also submitted renderings. Val, could you put the renderings up, please? And along with the renderings, they have submitted a preliminary plan and a landscape plan. Now, the overall project at this point consists of 12 parcels, 2 of which are developed with a building and a parking area. Many may be familiar with the AMCO building that is on the site currently, and that building will be demolished. The parcels will be combined into one parcel prior to site development. So what you see on the screen now is a rendering of what the storage facility will look like in that area. In your packet, in your staff report, there is site information. I won't go over every bit of information, but I will point out that when it comes to floodplain impacts, based on the floodplain map analysis, the property is not flood prone, and there are also no wetlands on the property. There's a zoning and land use table in your agenda packet as well. I won't go over that in detail unless any of the commission would like me to. One of the things that we look at when it comes to rezones is the rezone consistent with the city's comprehensive plan? So overall, I can say it is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, but there are also specific policies and objectives that have been listed in your staff report. So I won't go over every one of those, but they are added to show specific areas and ways in which this particular rezone is consistent with the comprehensive plan. We also look at the appropriateness of the requested rezone category. So they're going from CC1 to BPUD. Is there a reason for that? Is it appropriate for them to do so? So in reviewing the appropriateness of the requested BPUD zoning designation, the Boarding and Planning and Appeals had to consider certain items, and the City Commission had to consider 8 specific criteria that are listed in Section 82-372 of the Land Development Regulations. The applicant reviewed the criteria, and they provided a narrative in the attachment that is labeled as rezone requirements. And in looking through that, it's staff's opinion that the requested rezone from CC1 to BPUD is justified and appropriate for the area. And those particular points are also listed in your staff report. So based on this, excuse me, staff's recommendation is to adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from CC1 Commercial Corridor District to BPUD Planned Business Unit Development, and approve the associated written development agreement and preliminary development plan and landscape plan for approximately 1.544 acres located north of Mason Avenue, east of Daytona Avenue, and south of First Street, approximately 430 feet west of Beach Street, and as legally described in Exhibit A, which that exhibit is also in your agenda packet. That
Brian, what was
concludes.
the findings of the Board of Planning and Appeals?
The Board of Planning and Appeals unanimously recommended the project.
Any questions for Brian at this time? Thank you, Brian. Sure. Bring Mr. Watts up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and welcome back. It's good to be with you again this evening. For the record, Mark Watts with the law firm of Cobb Cole, 231 North Woodland Boulevard, DeLand. And I apologize, I walked out without my tie. I meant to bring it and have a tie on this evening, so I apologize for that. I don't want to take up too much of your time this evening. We talked about this at length. I do recognize that we have 2 new commissioners, so if you have questions, we're certainly here to answer. Our project engineer is here with us this evening if you have any questions about any of the design or the stormwater capacity for the project. I also have Daniel Ginberg with Stein Investment Group, which is the company that's coming in to invest in Holly Hill with the project. So with that, happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Mark, would you explain, due to the recent storm and flooding, it's on everyone's mind, can you explain what are the requirements for the water retention and what requirements you're actually building the property to?
Sure. So we have to meet the minimum standards that you have in your code or the St. John's Water Management District code as you design for the 25-year, 24-hour storm event. Project engineer, with Parker Menschenberg and Associates, Steve Buswell, provided the information at the last meeting. They have actually designed this site to the 100-year storm event, 100-year, 24-hour storm event. So it is a standard we've seen a couple of other jurisdictions adopt now as their minimum standard, but it is a standard we felt was a responsible standard to use for the project. I guess the easiest way to describe it, and I'll look to Steve to correct me if I'm wrong, but it provides at least double the capacity, around double the capacity, more or less.
A little different.
Let me get Steve up here to answer that.
Steve Buswell with Parker Mitchenberg and Associates, 1729 Ridgewood Avenue. So the difference between kind of a 25-year, 24-hour storm event and a 100-year, 24-hour storm event is basically the amount of rainfall. 25-year event is 9.5 inches of rain, whereas the 100 years approximately 11.2 inches. So we've designed to treat and attenuate that storm event In addition, we'll need to permit not only through the Water Management District and the city's review, but also FDOT, and there are 48 different storm events that you're required to kind of analyze and design to, so.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
No.
Thank you. Sure. Stay close. I'm going to open up to the public. They might have some questions.
Thank you.
Anyone from the audience like to comment on this project? Yes, ma'am. In the back. Mary.
You want me to come up there?
Yes, ma'am. We have to record you.
I just have a question. So, do I state my name again?
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Nichols, 1715 Anniston Avenue. So this new storage unit is built to hold, do I ask this gentleman?
You gotta ask me.
It's built to hold 11 point something amount of rain in their stormwater part of it all? Is that what I'm understanding?
That's what I understood.
So we received 29 inches of rain with Ian, 28 inches of rain with Milton. So how's that going to work?
It's not. I don't think there's any design standard that would survive that level of rain in that period of time.
Yeah, okay. We need to stop building for a while until we
Mary,
get this flooding under control, John. This is terrible. Like, it's great. We don't need more storage units in Holly Hill. We need our houses to not flood so we can stay living in Holly Hill. You know, that's the bottom line. Like, this is all we have is our homes. I don't give a flying crap about storage units. I want to not flood. So, I'm sorry, but not important.
Over on this side, didn't you have your hand up, ma'am? Would you like to come up?
Try to say this as best as I can.
Take your name and address, please.
Christina Bolin, 1716 Center Avenue, Holly Hill. It's not that I'm against development, I just know the city is not always mindful, so I'm speaking out against the proposed project and the ordinances, particularly because of two reasons. The development agreement and the ongoing flooding issues that have been present for well over a decade in that area. Everyone knows Riverside Drive floods. It doesn't even have to be during a hurricane. Water runs east. The project is just to the southwest of this known problem area, and maybe all of a mile around the corner. It's irresponsible to allow for land use and zoning changes to take place for the subject property. The owners knew what they bought before they bought it, and the city needs to stop allowing for development that doesn't already fit within the means of the existing land use and zoning regulations. And truth is, none of you up here have the knowledge or background to even determine the potential negative impacts of any project, let alone this one, relying solely on developers and their engineers' inputs. The development agreement is questionable. How are you putting covenants that run with the land in a legally binding development agreement, allowing any and all of these developers' successors to maintain and manage not just the stormwater system that's to be added onto the subject property, but the master stormwater system as well? How does that conform to the comprehensive plan in this city? And in my opinion, I believe you all should not be relieved of all potential future liability. However, if I've interpreted what I've read incorrectly, please explain the difference between a stormwater system and a master stormwater system that's mentioned in this development agreement so that I have a true and better understanding if I'm incorrect in my interpretation. Also, I question things because this agreement clearly states that it is specifically understood that you all, the city, do not guarantee the appropriateness, the efficiency, the quality, or the legality of which you're approving to include, but not be limited to, stormwater drainage and sewage plans. So in my opinion, you all are being reckless if you approve and move forward with the approval process, which relates to this project ordinances, the proposed land use and zoning changes, alongside the development agreement. Because this city doesn't even have a licensed building code administrator or standard plans examiner or any non-provisional inspector that is licensed in this state. A simple look up on the DBPR website shows this. So how can you sit here and pretend that you're within compliance of the law or believe the city can even perform proper inspections? Who is licensed to go out and inspect anything or properly examine plans presented? If anyone should have code enforcement come in on them, it should be you all, this city, because you all have time and time again recklessly and unapologetically violated your own municipal codes of ordinances as you see fit and put developer wants above the community's needs, like protecting them from flooding, for instance, or not violating citizen property rights. In my opinion, the city should not be making these ridiculous kinds of development agreements.
I saw some hands in the back go up. Yes, ma'am.
Danielle Alderette, 714 Grove Avenue. So I went to the stormwater, what's that called? The workshop. And you, Mr. John Penny, said at that workshop, we need to stop building based on this 100-year plan. You yourself, you did. In all of your end speeches.
Stop calling them 100-year plans. You need to define them by the level of rain that's accumulated, because that scale was done in the 80s, and I believe it's inappropriate.
So, but that's what we're building this one to. That's what you just said that we're building this one to. That 100-year one, that's what that would be built this to. So everybody's up here saying, don't do it based on this, and you yourself said we need to stop doing it. So to pass it goes against your own words.
For the record, I didn't say that. I said we need to correct the definitions of 100-year floods. Yes, sir.
Kyle Stickney, 1490 Graham Avenue. All the new people in this city, or people that have been here for 4 or 5 years living here, inspect the fruit, not just listen to the flattering lips. Inspect the fruit, inspect the actions, okay? How much money do you need? You cannot take it with you when you die. You cannot take it with you when you die. You need to repent. You need to give your life to the Lord, okay? You laugh now, but you're going to weep and wail on Judgment Day. Your soul's not a joke.
Keep it on topic.
This is very much on topic.
Is this a sermon or?
Yes, this is a sermon, and this is addressing how much money you need and why we need to continue to keep building up. Because you say you're addressing the stormwater, but then you're continuing to build on places that shouldn't be built up, and you're having people that are rezoning wetlands, building them up. How much money do you need? How much is enough? It's not a rhetorical question. I've seen you guys answer some questions. How much is enough for you to live the rest of your life? For you.
I don't get money from any of them.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying how much is enough.
Make that clear.
I didn't ask that. I asked how much is enough for you to live the rest of your life. Your soul's not worth it. You say Jesus' name in vain, so obviously you believe in him. I'm speaking.
You don't know
I'm
who I
speaking.
am.
I just heard you say Jesus.
Wow, just let him.
Okay, I mean, you don't have to worry about me. I'm not a threat. God's on my side. The reason that I didn't come up here and speak against it when we built at the park is because I was living wicked. I couldn't come preach hypocritically. Now I'm righteous. Now I can preach unhypocritically. I just want to say one more thing before I leave. When I brought 2 kids before you guys took away the baseball fields, I just want to say this for the public to hear this. I brought 2 kids up to the city hall to register them and to play baseball. And the person that handled the registration said, the slots are full. We don't have any more slots.
Not from our agenda.
I understand. They said the slots were full.
Mayor, can we?
But then afterwards,
please?
we found out that they weren't allowing people.
Task, please.
That's all I have to say. They weren't allowing. They were trying to say.
Thank you for your comments.
Yep. Y'all know. How much is enough?
Thank you for your comments.
Your blood's not on my hands anymore.
Would anyone else like to address the commission on this item? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
The guy's a psycho.
Danielle Latona, 904 Newcastle Court, Holly Hill, Florida. So, I'm kind of confused and baffled. People have been coming in here pouring their hearts out for many years about flooding. I got to commend Edgewater because they finally put a moratorium on building until their residents were addressed of the flooding issues. I don't understand what a storage unit is more important than the people who vote for you. They're not voting for you. We are. And I'm here to tell you, I took care of my mom who was paralyzed for 6 years, and I couldn't leave the house. And that's why you guys haven't seen me. But those days are over. I'm not against building. I am not against I moved to this city. I had many choices to invest in the biggest investment in my life. I could have went anywhere, literally. And I drove around here and I found the little hidden gem, which are all the little cul-de-sacs behind the Alabama. And I thought, this is a great place
We have to stay focused.
to raise my family. This has to do with it because I invested in this city and I trusted in this city. And all I'm seeing is our city going down to big investors who don't live here, who don't get flooded, who don't have an effect. You're talking about 100-year flooding. Do you know when I hear those words, it's like hearing the devil? Because we have been hearing that since 2009, Tropical Storm Faye. Roy Johnson, I'm sure you remember. John Penny, I'm sure you remember. Because I was involved at that time. And I hope the commissioners think about this. I'm not saying don't allow to build at a certain time. But we have engineers coming in because our system, we're spending millions of dollars on engineers because we have no idea what's going on in the city. Because we don't know what's wrong with our sewer system. All we're asking is please allow these engineers to come in and help us. We are tired of putting our personal life on the street. We are tired of staying up all night and building. We want to see growth in our community. We want to see things getting built. We want to have activities in our community. I'm driving to Port Orange to put my little things left in storage. I have to drive 35 minutes, so I'm not opposed to storage units. We just want some help. Before you guys decide to keep allowing the building, and now that area becomes a possible flood zone, please, before you vote, think about your residents.
Anyone else like to address the commission? Seeing none, I'll close audience participation. Mr. Walker, can you come up, please? What's the zoning on the property at the current time?
CC1.
And are storage units allowed in the CC1 at this present time?
They would be allowed, but with a special exception. However, what they are proposing would not be allowed because what they're asking is to reduce the amount of parking that normally would be associated with a storage facility. So that is being done to actually reduce the amount of concrete that's going on the site, and also because it's been shown that these types of storage units don't require the excess parking that often goes with other types of developments.
So because the applicants applied for the BPUD, we have guarantees of what the structure is going to be and the exact calculations of what the effects of rain and storage retention would be on the property. Rather than if it was just straight zoning, they could go in and build just about anything they wanted to right now.
If it was just straight zoning, they could do a much more intense use, and you could actually do things that are light industrial. You could put down more concrete. You could have bars. You could have just a variety of things that are much more intense. So what they're doing is they're providing this, which is a less intense, a smaller footprint, and less parking development.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions of staff?
Yeah. You mentioned this particular building will have a 100-year water plan. If it was CC1, what could somebody build? 25-year, 50-year? I mean, this seems to be above the required.
They would still need to meet the requirements that are there by St. John's and the city. You know, the term 100-year flood it's really a bad term because it makes people think that we're saying a storm happens once every 100 years. So,
I think the question the commissioner is asking is, was this stormwater system designed above the minimum requirement of the Water Management District?
it was. The engineer can answer that.
I know you already.
You know what I needed. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions of staff? Any questions of the applicant?
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
Any discussion?
The only thing I would like to clear up is we're not allowed to say you can't build here, but what we are allowed to do through this agreement is increase the stormwater capacity. So I think this is better than them just being able to go in and build
Take a
pretty
note
much
from
whatever they
Edgewater.
want.
They stopped building.
So this is definitely a better project because of that. That's all I have.
Well, just for the record, I'd like to clarify what I did say at the workshop was that I felt that, basically what you said, Commissioner Curry, the descriptions of a 100-year flood would lead you to believe you're going to live through one of these things. A 500-year flood might mean your grandfather lived through one of these things. These tables are antiquated. They were developed in the 80s, and I think we should throw them out, and we should say, we've experienced a 12 inches in 24-hour event, or we've experienced an 18 inches in 24-hour event, because it just infuriates people. Why can't you solve it? It should only happen every 100 years. That's because, no disrespect, but some engineer created this table. My son's an engineer. So is his wife, so I can say that. They created this table, and we've labeled it that way, and we need to change the way that we're thinking.
I think we need to remove the language so that it doesn't become confusing.
I don't know if you would like to add anything else, Mr. Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you all have covered it. I do agree with you on the labeling of some of those storm events. You know, I've had it explained to me that when you're talking about that 100-year event, it simply means there's a 1% chance of that happening in any given year. And so there's probably some better ways to characterize that. But with regard to the questions that were raised about the stormwater system and the responsibility for it, that is 100% the responsibility of the landowner to build it and maintain it at that design capacity. And it does have, Steve mentioned the DOT review, because we do have an outfall that goes to the DOT pond adjacent to the site as well. So there is that outfall that goes that direction. So hopefully that cleared up any question on that.
Thank you. Any questions? So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
No.
Oh, one thing I forgot. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. Mr. Simpson, could you, for the benefit of our two newly elected commissioners, could you explain that to them and their responsibilities?
Well, the first thing with quasi-judicial, if you talk to somebody outside this meeting, not talking about staff, but members of the public, is considered an ex parte communication, and you should disclose that during this conversation of the agenda item. And any, not just rezoning, anything that's quasi-judicial, that would be rezonings, variances, special exceptions, you would disclose that you had that conversation. Secondly, when you're voting on the issue before you, there's really two ways you regulate growth. One is you adopt rules. And when you adopt rules, you have tons of discretion. It's legislative action. The next step is applying those rules to individual property owners. And when you do that, it's called quasi-judicial, because you're acting more like a judge. You take facts, you apply them to the laws you adopt. And the discretion goes away. You have to have substantial competent evidence to support the decision you make, whether it's in favor of the applicant or voting against the applicant. You have to have evidence, competent evidence, to support your decision. And the applicant bears the burden of proving that first. It's the applicant's obligation to present competent, substantial evidence that they comply with the city's regulations. And then it becomes opposition's obligation, once the applicant meets that burden, to show competent substantial evidence that they don't comply, or there's another alternative that could be supported other than the request that's being made. And then you can't have a situation where both, whether you vote for or against an application, there is substantial competent evidence to support either way. That can't happen. But you need to have competent substantial evidence. And one of the big things is when you start talking about giving opinions about situations or facts that the court recognizes as expert, it needs to be an expert giving the opinion. Impact on property values. A lot of people think they can have an opinion on that. You can, but courts have said you need to be an appraiser to give an opinion on how a project will impact property values. What will the project do to flooding? That takes an engineer to come in and testify to. Traffic, they have traffic engineers. The public can talk about things about what they observed and opinions, things that on issues that the court doesn't recognize as needing an expert opinion, like something's not consistent with the growth of our community. But when you get into things that the court do recognize as experts, you need to rely on the expert opinions, whether it's brought to you by the applicant, the city's expert, or the public's expert. They can bring their own experts in. So that's just like a brief summary of the quasi-judicial process.
So basically, to summarize, if you are opposed to it, you don't like that there's going to be a factory put on this property or whatever might be before us, just because you don't like it, your opinion really doesn't count. You have to have substantial competent evidence to vote for it or to vote against it.
That's correct.
Correct.
You have to tie it back to.
There has to be a reason. You can't just say, I don't like the applicant, I don't like Mark Watts, I'm going to vote against it.
You base it on the competent evidence that's put forward and can apply that to the development regulations we've adopted. And the law also requires, one of the things is when somebody makes an application, you got to do that application, you got to review it within a certain period of time. The law requires that you vote it up, vote it down, approve it with conditions within a certain period of time. 180 days, actually. If you're going to deny an application, you have to specifically cite to the code section, the law, the regulation that is the basis of the denial. You got to go back to the code and say, you don't comply with this section of our code, therefore we're going to deny it, and you better have competent, substantial evidence to support that decision that application doesn't comply with that code section.
Because you're going to get sued.
If we don't do that, then you get to work because we're going to be sued.
Well, I want to ask a question. Is that based on an individual person's vote or on the commission's total decision?
Commission's total decision. If there's a motion to deny an application, the motion really should say, I'm denying the application because of this, 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 and this, and this information that was provided. These code sections we don't believe they would provide, they qualify or comply with, and this is the evidence that's the basis of that. We would then put that into the order signed by the mayor saying, it's denied because of these reasons, and you outline them. And if you don't do that, one, you're in violation of the law. Two, you may not have the competent evidence that the judge will look at, because it's very bland is the best way I can put it. If you read a transcript, we sit here and we see it one way. The judge is going to read a transcript of what's going on here, and it's so much different. I've read it so many transcripts before handling appeals on these things, and I was like, why did I say that? Why didn't I say this? And
Right.
It just comes across so different on paper than it does when you're sitting here watching. You don't get to show a video to the judge of actually everything that happened. It has to be a transcription of what occurred. So it's real important to make sure we detail out, especially when we get into a denial, these are the reasons, because maybe an applicant will not sue. But you don't want to base your planning and growth on let's hope the applicant doesn't sue. Let's do it where we can defend your decision. And some of the things you hear about the flooding and all this other stuff, those are policy decisions that have to be adopted into regulations. And yeah, there may be people who think we should have different regulations right now, but the fact of the matter is we don't. We can't apply regulations to an applicant that don't exist. And they're vested. When they submitted their application with the city, they became vested with our regulations right then. We can't say, hey, wow, you know, we really should do something different. Can't do that. And I know Edgewater's adopting a moratorium. Yes, that's a way you can stop growth, but Edgewater is also protecting the vested rights of people who've already submitted applications because they know they can't deny those. So there's a lot more to all this than just reading a headline. It really is.
Sure. Thank you. So does anyone want to disclose any ex parte communication?
I have none.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. We'll actually go ahead and take the vote now. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Passes 4-1.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So now we'll move on to communications. I know you're all waiting to hear what Mr. Forte has to say.
I'm going to actually ask Antoine to come up because we're working on the third BTU over at the wastewater treatment facility. And to pour the concrete for that BTU takes a lot of yards of cement. And in order to do that, the contractor has to get cement to come in from, I think, 3 different cement plants. And in order for them to do that and not interrupt with their typical daily operations, they would like to pour the cement beginning at 2 a.m. The challenge to that is it's going to make noise, there's going to be backup alarms, there's going to be truck traffic coming down LPGA, possibly Ridgewood, maybe even 10th Street in some areas at some point.
It's only Ridgewood and...
just Ridgewood?
Ridgewood and 10th Street.
10th Street, okay, so they got to come into the bed.
Can they not use LPGA?
No, the plant is down at the
Location
south.
where the pour is.
Okay.
And there's Antoine Corey, Public Works. The issue is it's a special mix that requires a certain time period. So they find the shortest distance to get from the plant to the site.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Okay.
And how many days are we talking about?
It's about 10 hours approximately, give and take, maybe an hour or so.
One day.
Less than.
Just one day?
Yeah,
Okay.
it starts at 2 a.m., hopefully we'll be finished by 12 p.m. the next day, next morning.
Okay.
Is there any notice going out to anybody?
Yes, sir.
Sure there is.
We will, after we confirm, we'll do distribution. The map shows, or the picture shows the impact area to the residents, and those all will receive a door hangers, and will be asked to call if they have any issues, to call our consultants on staff. They will be present on site. All along Magnolia, Jasmine, and on the east side of Alta Drive.
So I don't want to give authorization for a concrete company to pour outside of the parameters that we typically allow without the commission's consent to go ahead and do that. Because we may not get complaints, but we may get complaints, but it's a one-night thing. And, you know, I tried to figure out ways to start earlier in the morning and run through the day, but I understand that the concrete companies just can't produce that volume of concrete in addition to their regular daily supply. It's got to be done during the night.
So all the forming's already done for the tank and all that, right? It's a new stir tank.
Up that picture.
So it's just the trucks pouring, so.
It's just the truck pours.
Yeah, I don't even think they'll know they're there.
No, I sent it
Those
via
days
text
start
to you.
at
Okay. Well, yes, and the picture we're going to show you is how big that site is.
Will the noise be that much to?
Actually, to be honest with you, I'm not being honest, but the fact is we did some decibels, along. A car going down 10th Street gets about 80 to to 85 decibels, which is a little bit high. If you put the backup, and that's the most noisy thing, is when you back up the truck, it's around 60.
Okay.
So just natural noise from the site is about 50 or 45 or 50.
The challenge is the weather's gotten a little cooler, people are going to have the windows open when they're
Right.
sleeping at
Yeah.
night, and
Yeah, that's the picture, Judy.
I got a question. Is there there's no way they can turn the beepers off on those trucks?
No, it's safety. OSHA, OSHA, OSHA.
I think that's the only thing you're going to hear.
Yes,
Say
and that's,
anything
and that's the
about-
point.
Well, they
And that's
don't
the
even
point.
hear the trucks.
Actually, we worked with the contractor to have that minimized. That means they come in from the east entrance to the yard,
Yeah.
dump their trucks and come out. So they don't have to
Might not
back
have a
up.
lot of that backup.
That's right. We are trying to minimize it I'm not going to say no, but we're going to try to minimize it.
I mean, if we're doing what we can to minimize it, and there's probably not going to be a lot anyway, it needs to be done.
So Joe, are you just bringing this to our attention, or you need formal action?
I don't need formal action, but I do want consensus from the commission that, or I should say, no opposition from the commission, because, I don't want people getting me phone calls and then you getting phone calls and you saying, well, we didn't know anything about it. We never would have approved that. Well, I'm throwing you under the bus.
I don't have a problem.
Trying to add a third clarifier to our sewer treatment plant, which is going to increase the capacity, which is what we're all concerned about. I don't see any other way to do it, so hearing no opposition, we'll give you the blessings to move forward.
Okay, that's all we needed.
Thank
you.
Anything else, Joe?
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Deborah and to JD and to you, Mayor. I look forward to working with all of you. Mayor, we've worked together before, and we had a great relationship, and I expect that will continue in this next period of time. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Feel free to ask, and if I don't know, I'll try to get you the answers. So what you will get out of me is the best truthful answer I can give you, so that you come to these meetings prepared.
Thanks, Joe. Got anything for us, Scott?
I'll do what Joe said. Congratulations to the members of the board, working with you and to the mayor again. You seem to move from spot to spot.
Yeah.
The other thing I would just want to mention about, that really wasn't said about Pictona, I think is important. The organization that we have a management agreement with them, and that organization is a not-for-profit organization. And in our management agreement that we did with that not-for-profit corporation, we prohibit them from having profit and taking, some people say not-for-profit, they don't make profit. Oh, yeah, they do. But it's called surplus. Well, we require them to submit quarterly financials, and all surplus, that means operating revenue less operating costs, has to either be reinvested back into Pictona, or it gets paid, if they want to do a surplus distribution, it gets paid to a local charity. And we prohibit the directors, the family members of the directors, from getting paid from there. So this thing is really set up to make sure that, you want to be millionaires, you come here and play, their money stays here. It doesn't leave. And that organization does not profit off of us. That money stays in Holly Hill, whether it's invested into the Pictona facility, which we own, it's all our public improvements over there, or in promoting pickleball, or it goes to local charitable organizations in Holly Hill. So, and those financials get submitted quarterly. So we tried to tie them down to make sure, they didn't take some of the, hire some people, just friends or whatever, and pay them a bunch of dollars and pay them a bunch of money. That's not happening. The money stays in Holly Hill. And that's not something that was specifically mentioned, and I just want to make sure that was clear on the record.
Thank you. There's no one here to hear it now, Scott. They're all gone.
The people who
They're not going to believe you anyway.
Ma'am, it's not time for public comments. We can talk afterwards. Thank you. So we had an exciting first meeting. I bought 100 T-shirts to pass out, if anyone wants a T-shirt. We got cake in the back room, if anyone wants cake.
I'm starving.
It's a big cake, so, but we have challenges, and I think I hit the gavel more times tonight than I did in the previous 4 years as the mayor.
true.
But I'm going to try to maintain decorum in this meeting. We all need to be heard, and we all need to listen. Emotions are high. People's lives have been turned upside down. I don't know what it would be like to have raw sewage in my house. The lady came and said her child was taken away from an ex-husband because her home was in deplorable conditions. Luckily, none of us have experienced that trauma. So we have to be compassionate, but we have to be firm sometimes. And so if I come across as non-caring, I'm sorry, I care. But I'm going to do everything in my power to maintain order when we have our public meetings before the citizens. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Continuing repeated misinformation and outright lies will be called out every time they're repeated. It's a cancer. And I wish Mayor Villa was still here. He might be in the back somewhere. But we had his farewell address last Friday, and he talked about leading with love. And sometimes it's tough love. And sometimes you might be told things that you don't want to hear. But this commission is always going to be truthful and honest with you and open. We are accessible. I don't know any other city that you can walk in and just see the city manager. We don't have offices here, but we have plenty of places we can meet with you. So we are going to do our best. Are we going to get it right all the time? No. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. But my time on this commission, the thing I've appreciated the most is we're not afraid to admit we made mistakes. We can backtrack and we can fix it. We can go back 5 yards and punt, but we will get it right. It might take us a while, but we will get it right. So, welcome to the club, newbies.
Thank you.
We'll start with Ms. Snow. Would you like to have any comments?
I would like to say something personally. I had a couple of people ask me tonight what was the matter with my voice. And because November is Dystonia Awareness Month, I thought I would say I have tremors in my vocal cords. I have tremors in my hands. It doesn't mean that I'm upset or scared. It's just the way my voice is. And if everybody would learn about dystonia, all of us that have it would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Curry?
I did leave out one thing about Pictona. I can't believe nobody corrected me. We have free concerts over there, usually once a month.
That's right.
I totally forgot all about it whenever I was talking about Pictona. But at Pictona 2, there's a big championship court. It's got bleachers, I guess is what we call them. And we made sure that there was a special material to put down on that court so that when they put chairs out, it doesn't mess it up. But we have free concerts there once a month, and let me tell you, it's really some good entertainment. I have a problem going there most of the time because of my back, and I can't sit that long, but we have had some jam-up entertainment, and it's hollyhillevents.org, right? Check it out. If you're listening, if you're here, wherever you are, go to hollyhillevents.org. It's free. And you might have a good night out. You can go on a date or something. But I want to welcome the 2 new commissioners. I look forward to working with this new team. And for the past 12 years, I've been able to work with just about everybody that has set up here, and we've been able to move this city in positive directions. Do we have a lot of work to do on stormwater? Absolutely. Have we been working on it? Yes, we have been doing things. So that information is out there, and it's incorrect. We have been doing things for several years now towards stormwater. But I just want to welcome the new team and look forward to working with everybody.
Thank you.
Mr. Delanoy?
I just think that some of this stuff that's happening is really, we need to put a line on it somehow. I mean, I know everybody has their chance to talk, but it's been going on for a while. I know you're in control of making that decision one way or the other, but, I mean, it just gets out of line. I see people getting up and leaving that actually wanted to be here in this meeting, and they just had enough of it. And I know that everybody needs their chance, but there's just, there's a few here, I don't even think it's a few, but there's an individual that just is driving people out of this room that want to be here.
I sense your frustration. I think we all,
And,
been here for the last 3 hours. I think we feel your same
Sure.
frustration. Unfortunately, it's the law.
Yeah, well, but there's a line that comes sooner or later when somebody's behaving like that in a public meeting. I mean,
Well, if I
You know.
I've talked to the chief of police, if people continue to make outbursts in our public meeting, I will warn them once, I will warn them twice,
Yeah, I know.
and we will remove them on the third
I
time.
understand it. I mean, I know I have a lot of patience myself. I mean, if anybody knows me, they know I'm a very patient person. If anybody knows me at all. But, anyway, thanks. I enjoyed being here in a sense. I mean, it's kind of rough, I guess, having a start like that. It wasn't sugar and cream or whatever. But, yeah, I know, I've sat in a few of them. But other than that, I just look forward to being here and seeing what we can, what the possibilities of what we can get done. I know, like we keep saying, we all say it, there's a lot to do, and we gotta get busy on it. But that's about it.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Okay, I just was kind of getting worried for a while there that our two new commissioners may have decided they made a mistake.
Not a chance.
It was a rough meeting tonight, but it's not always really bad, but it just sometimes when somebody has so much hatred, they just like to stir up trouble, and you have to get past it, you know what I mean? But I mean, it kind of upsets me when they try to hide behind God to do it, But when I see, and another thing that gets me a little bit aggravated, when I see on live videos all the time, over and over and over and over, how we've took all the recreation away from their families in the city of Holly Hill. That is totally ridiculous, you know what I mean? I mean, Matt, I was talking to Matt before I renovated my place and all, it had flight gymnastics. He spent almost $3 million building a 30,000 square foot place for kids to come in and play. He don't really make any money off of it, I think he has like 7 or 8 businesses, probably quite a few of them in Holly Hill that he does make money off of. But it's a place for the kids to play, and it's a good place, and they come in all kinds of weather. They come in and do gymnastics, they do the Ninja Warrior thing and all that, and it's really a great thing. The parking lot is always full. When it's open, the parking lot is full, you know what I mean? And so I talked to Matt, he kind of encouraged me, said, well, you got the same size property I got, you should have something for the kids as well. So I said, well, and then my daughter was really hopped up about it because she had been involved with it, and my little grandson was a baseball player. I said, well, we'll put in, the Hollyland Park. Even Dallas always tell me, as a little kid, we'd ride around on the buggy. He says, it's a ghost town. Why is it a ghost town? Why is nobody ever here? So nobody was coming there anyway. So now they built it into something really nice with a Pictona. So now we built a baseball facility on Nova Road that's right next door to Flight Gymnastics. And just like I remember one time when I was kind of involved a lot with Rick Hendricks and Jeff Gordon and all that, and Jeff Gordon told Rick Hendricks, well, I got this good driver named Jimmy Johnson and could really go somewhere if you'll put him on the team. And Rick Hendricks said, well, Jeff, will put your money where your mouth is. So Jeff said, okay, I'll put up half the money for Jimmy to come on board. So I said, well, I tell myself I got to do the same thing. It's going to cost me a lot of money to put this place together and all. So it did. It cost I already had the property, I already had the building, and I still spent $1 million on it to renovate it for the kids. I don't make anything off of it, but the kids have a place to play. The year before we built that, more than half of their practices got rained out in the city of Ormond. All the kids play, practice, and all in the city of Ormond, and the fields get muddy and they can't play for a week and things like that. Now they don't have any of them get rained out. They can always come there and play. So it's just a total out-and-out fictitious lie that we've taken all the family sports facilities away from Holly Hill. We've put them in Holly Hill where no other community has them like we have them. We have Pictona, we have the YMCA, we have the Riviera Golf and Country Club, we have Flight Gymnastics and Volusia Sports Center. We have all those places. Who else can say they have that? And every one of them except one, the kids can play at any kind of weather. It can be thunder, lightning, storming, whatever. If you're on a baseball field and you get a lightning strike, you got to wait for like a half an hour before you can go back and play again even, you know what I mean? So it's just, and it has no effect on those at all. So it's just frustrating. He can put that out there over and over and over and over and over. And how many times have I been called a liar on social media, like 10, 12 times, because I say those facilities are in Holly Hill and he says they're in Ormond, you know what I mean? I mean, I should know where my own place is.
Right.
And I talked to Matt, and Matt said he has never had any inclination whatsoever of annexing in Ormond. You know what I mean? So it is.
You're 85 now, you might be forgetful.
Huh?
You're 85 now, you might be a little forgetful.
85? We had a really good party in Flight Gymnastics, in Volusia Sports Center next to Flight Gymnastics, and I'm so happy that all you guys came and saw what it was and could see what it was and give me maybe my final birthday, who knows, you know what I mean? But hopefully,
don't talk like that.
you never know. The doctor says I got
I'm
2
going to need
strikes.
a lot of training.
Doctor says I got 2 strikes against me, but I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing in the Transportation Planning Organization to try to make things better. And like even Big John, as much as he hated me, used to say, old Roy's only want to talk about the roads, everybody else wants to talk about meetings and budgets and all that kind of stuff. You know, and that's, you got to promote the roads, you know, that's what it's all about, you know? And that's what I try to do and try to make it better. I mean, we got so many things building, we got to have the roads to get back and forth to them, you know what I mean?
All right, well, thank you, sir. So, as a reminder, talking about the concerts, November 22nd, which is a Friday night, it's a Huey Lewis and the News tribute band, free at Pictona. Our regular city commission meeting, our next meeting would normally be November 26th, but that is canceled due to the proximity of Thanksgiving. We'll have one meeting in December, and the task between now and then for the city commission is we annually select a citizen of the year and a business of the year.
Okay.
So you need to get with Mr. Forte. I have some suggestions for us, but you need to get with Mr. Forte so that we can